Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas!
Tis the season to hawk some podcasts.
La 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 la.
That's right. This year, we're peddling you our new bullshit. Is that good for an ad?
It's honest. It's probably the most honest thing you've ever done.
That's how you sell.
We're giving you some bullshit.
Business 101, be honest.
Nothing says sell like coughing fits.
Yeah.
We're doing a thing like we did last time.
Yes.
Remember?
Black Friday, Christmas Eve, Black Friday at midnight. We're dropping a new.
We're hitting Duncan's toy chest. 5 floors of cash.
Yep.
We're selling you. We did a full Christmas thing. It's fun. You guys are going to love it if you like us. It's us playing games, having guests, all Christmas talk.
And more importantly, it's for charity.
Well, for us this year.
There's no charity
There's
this
no
year.
charity involved?
No.
We're the charity this year.
Are you serious?
We got in trouble with taxes last year. We're not doing it.
Are you serious?
No.
We're the charity this year.
All right, so let's just get this straight. None of your money is going to charity.
and you're buying bullshit.
Holy shit.
We're the good cause this year. I will say, whatever, I do want to say this, whatever third is sold. So if we sell, let's say $300 of albums, I'm sending 100 to a charity of my own. But the bank account, the company account needs the money badly.
Brian's pockets need to be lined.
No, the company's account needs to be lined. Let's be fucking real, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't make any money. We got to fucking do this to help the account desperately. So, if you like us, please fucking buy the album.
What's the cost? $1 or something?
It's $5.
$5.
And you're getting 4.5 hours of laughs almost. We do
$1 an
Look
hour.
at it this way, folks. If you don't buy this, there's a good chance this show is going away.
Ed is so far removed, he's off camera.
Sorry, gang.
We're done.
buy the album like you're fucking.
He was ready
Your
to
love
burn
for the show
books.
depends on it.
He's ready to burn the books. And just
Give it as gifts. Do whatever you can. Buy the album. I really think you guys are going to have fun with it if you like us. Also,
maybe you know someone who you think would like us, but is too lazy to actually hit the button. You may do it for.
Buy it. This gives a good gift.
Yeah.
Also, on the Reviewing History Pod website, there's merch, which I will be wearing in the future. It's hot off the presses. Ugly sweaters with the new album cover on. It's called The Christmas Freak Off. I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun listening to this. So please go on bandcamp.com, follow the page to get the alerts. Buy it on Black Friday. Go to reviewinghistorypod.com, buy some shirts and sweaters.
We gotta move some shirts.
We gotta move some
products.
Seriously. Yep. These shirts gotta go.
We gotta go.
If we don't move products, we're gonna have to sell one of the cameras to keep it going. It's gonna be a wide shot.
You don't want that.
You don't want that.
No one wants that. So, all right. Enjoy the episode, guys. Attention!
I forget every time.
It's such an easy pop.
That is good. It's good. Hey, man, I think Popcorn Kernels is like, it has so many hooks to it. I think it's great.
We still need artwork. That's why if you're seeing the intro I did, there's a blank space where it's like artwork needed here.
I think, yeah, we should. We'll get some artwork. We'll get some artwork done, and then we can kind of figure out the branding of the entire interest in the whole thing. I love it. Oh, nice. Ew. Wow, I haven't seen one of these in. Oh, the tongue is weird.
You haven't seen one unused? Or?
I haven't seen one in person. I've heard about them.
For audio, we got a Deadpool Wolverine popcorn bucket of Wolverine's mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see.
It's erotic. Yeah, it's right there. You can put it right in front of me.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, I have the zombie head pool, which I really like a lot. I think it's fucking awesome.
Oh, I
The
saw
flying
that
head one.
too.
Oh my god, that one's awesome.
I feel like this is the thing secretly keeping movie theaters afloat right now, or popcorn buckets, because every movie that comes out that's big has its own popcorn bucket now. It's like the new collectible.
It's crazy because like I don't remember any of those from when I was younger at all.
Brand new thing.
Is it brand new?
I feel like it started fairly recently. I have one from Spider-Man No Way Home.
What is it?
It's the cube that Doctor Strange has.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
When I saw the movie, I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll get that.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
And then they used to have these collectible popcorn tins that you would get at the movie. So like I have one for Endgame. Of course, they gave me fucking Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But, I don't get the cool character. I get Hawkeye.
Yeah, right.
But, they've been trying to do this. And I think now that, like, they're just, what if we kind of make it look like something you could fuck?
Yeah,
now it's like, ka-ching!
Well, I think it's part of the Deadpool thing. Like, it's part of that marketing. By the way, the Deadpool Wolverine Blu-ray came out, and the commentary is out there. And I want to listen to the commentary.
My wife is probably gonna get that for me for Christmas.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I love listening to commentaries, but I'm never gonna put on the movie and choose the commentary track and just watch it with the commentary on. I'm never gonna do that.
I used to do that.
I can't picture myself doing it. So I'm like, someone fucking rip it, put it online.
So you can
somewhere.
listen as you're driving around?
I listened to the entire commentary tracks from Rick and Morty. One time when I used to commute from Rhode Island to Jersey to film with the guy here. I remember one time I came up here for like a week and I listened to all the Rick and Morty commentaries as MP3s, like a podcast, all week long, and they were fucking fascinating.
That's awesome.
And I do that. I actually, this is pretty nerdy. I have a folder of commentaries, all different ones, Endgame, like a million of them, the comedies, and I tagged them, like I MP3 tagged them like a podcast, so they're in my podcast app as like a million movie commentaries. Anchorman, like. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's fun. I like listening to them. I wish that there was a way to do that.
I used to be heavy into them. Like all the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
I binged all those, but I would never have the time now.
Oh, I love listening to them as podcasts. I mean, that's honestly, I consume so many more podcasts than movies and TV because it's like, well, movies is destination viewing. Like if we go to the movies or if I watch it with someone, whatever. But like TV is tough for me. Like I don't usually sit down and watch TV. Like outside of a relationship, I don't really do that. And now I'm in a long distance relationship, so we don't really do it that much. But podcasts I can get through. And so fucking audio commentaries are like, it's almost like what they are.
They're perfect for it. They're pre-podcast almost. It's like guys like me and you were always on the move and we always got a place to be and shit to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I can consume this as I'm doing the bullshit that I need to do. Like if I'm just uploading footage, I can put a podcast on. That doesn't require attention. I'm driving somewhere.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, that's why I'm getting into audiobooks now.
Oh, they're great too.
I know. But I digress. I didn't mean to go into this commentary thing.
This is one that's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I think, well, there's a couple things here today. We're going to talk about Venom 3. We're going to talk about the future of Spider-Man, which is, I think, it had nothing to do with Venom 3, but months ago I was like, I want to talk to you about an idea I had about Spider-Man and then a little other thing I have about X-Men coming into Marvel. But then Venom 3 came out and we were like, let's pair these two together.
Yeah,
man.
let's just combine it because it makes sense. Talk about Sony and
also the fact that I think Tony pulled the rug out from everybody with the marketing of this movie. I really feel that way strongly. I have a lot of theories. I have a lot of thoughts. Well, I can give you my marketing thoughts because that is kind of before the movie.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a fan of the Venom series, really.
Did you like the first one at all?
I think it's okay. It's one of those things where, like, we were just talking about the Mario Brothers movie before this.
Yeah, we were.
Where it's like, you watch something and you're like, this is okay, and then you see what something could be. You know what I mean? And, like for me, it's Mario Brothers versus Ninja Turtles or Spider-Verse. They're also kids' movies or family movies, and there's so much more elevated, I feel, than Mario, which was like, this is for 8-year-olds. Venom, same kind of thing where it's like,
it's for retarded guys that think they're 8-year-olds.
It's more like it's a passable, pretty not interesting superhero movie to me. It's fine. I think the design of Venom is awesome. I think that it's really hard to take that character from the comics with this black dripping goo as like the part of the symbiote. And I think it's really hard to take that and make something from it and on screen, like obviously like Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi, it was a little bit weird. It was more of a suit and all this kind of stuff.
I think they've always been scared to just go full Venom, white spider on the chest, and like they were like, well, we'll just make it look like a black version of the red and blue suit. And it's like, okay, but you know,
I agree. I think that Sony with the new Venom series, they killed it on the design of Venom and bringing it to life. Obviously, I wish it had the spider, but they obviously can't use it because it doesn't make any sense. But in terms of like what the symbiote is, the head coming out, the stuff stretching out, like when he does the motorcycle thing and the tendrils come up and grab him, I think the design of Venom is awesome.
I think Tom Hardy's great in it too.
I think Tom Hardy's fucking awesome. I think that his take on Eddie Brock is sweaty and nervous and like upset, and like I love it. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really fun. I think it makes for a great reluctant hero guy. So I do like aspects of it, and I'm cool with the convenience store lady knowing about it. Like I think that's all this stuff is fun.
The lobster tank scene in the first movie is a comedic masterclass as far as I'm concerned. It's fucking funny.
I don't remember the exact. I do remember what happened, but I can't speak on whether or not it's a comedic masterclass. But I thought it was like the first movie is just like boring. It's like I thought it was fine, and then it's like, I mean, one thing that turns me off. And this even turned me off to Old Man Logan, or Logan, I should say, was I don't love this movie is about this guy with this power versus a bad guy with the same power.
Okay.
And that really bores the fuck out of me. And they did it so many times.
Isn't that kind of every Venom story almost, where it's like, how about Venom fights another symbiote?
Well,
you know?
The thing is, like, if you think of Maximum Carnage, and it's Venom teaming up with Spider-Man, and they hate each other, and they have to put that aside. And Carnage is killing people, and he's hypnotizing the people of New York.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, there's a lot more there. But with movies, all that gets pared down so much that like me versus bad me is so fucking boring. So I didn't love that. Also, like, do you remember the trailers where? So what's her name? The girl that's in it, that's a comedian.
Jenny Slate.
She says symbiote. In the trailers
that went viral,
only,
yeah.
And then they changed it for the movie, and so in the movie she doesn't say it. So fucking everything about it is weird.
Well, they definitely redubbed it because like people are fucking dunking on us online. Jenny, get your ass in the studio.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's you in that world, it's the IP of in the Sony movies, Venom, Morbius, Madam Web, and
Craven soon,
and Craven's coming up, and they're all like Morbius is laughably bad. Madam Web.
I didn't see it yet. I want to.
That's insane to me. Madam Web is like fun, is bad, but so bad that it's fun. And then Venom is just like meh to me. And then I hated Venom 2. I hated Let There Be Carnage.
I feel the same way almost about all of them.
Yeah.
Where I don't think any of them are good.
Yeah.
But I enjoy them all enough where it's like, they're an hour and a half long.
I get it.
They're not too long. It's like, yeah, fine, whatever. You know, I think it's a problem when you're taking the soul of Venom as a character is his hatred for Peter Parker and Spider-Man. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Every arc he has, you know, until recently, but for the most part, for the majority of his history, he's driven by hatred of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And you take that away and you're like, all right, he's a cool alien, I guess.
Yeah.
They have a gay relationship. All right. You know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. It's very weird. I would say that Venom 1 is on par with Underworld and Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's like Daredevil, you know, one of those movies. It's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of just like passable. But again, I think that the quality drop from Venom to Venom 2 is massive. I really think that. I think that, and maybe it's because I care about the storyline Maximum Carnage. I care about Cletus Cassidy and, you know, Shriek and the church and all that stuff, and I know where it came from. And that's Maximum Carnage is the storyline that got me into comics in the first place.
Oh, I mean, I was getting that, like my grandfather was getting that for me as a kid. It's like I have images of it burned into my head.
Exactly.
That final issue when they're fighting, there's the fire in the fucking, it's incredible.
I love it. I love the video game that came out for SNES and Sega.
That was a rental that I never got to beat.
Oh, I have the red cartridge. Back when I was dating Crystal, who went on Reviewing History a bunch of times, she got me the red cartridge with the box for Christmas or my birthday.
That's
I think
awesome.
it was. It's fucking awesome. But I loved that. I loved that storyline. It got me in. So I think that probably increased my level of disdain because I was like, this is so cheap. Like they did nothing with Carnage. They did nothing and they killed him. that's the other thing is too. I went into that movie being like, well, this is the introduction to Carnage, so there's no way it's also going to be the end of Carnage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I'm really surprised that that movie is 100% of what we get from Carnage. To me, it's like, I mean, you know, Spider-Man's a long-running character, but in terms of the world of Venom, it's like Carnage is the Joker.
Oh, that's his main villain.
So it's like you bring in the Joker and kill him in the same movie, which I guess they did in Batman '89.
And they did it in Spider-Man with Green Goblin. It's
Yeah.
a long-running thing for, you know,
true.
for comic book movies. Like, wait, people are going to hate this if, like, Spider-Man just arrests this villain and gets him to jail. It's one of the things I love about No Way Home is that they had him save Vulture and have him arrested. It's like, oh, that's a Spider-Man thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think my expectations with Maximum Carnage going in, or Let There Be Carnage going in, I was like, all right, well, this isn't going to be fucking anything like the comic because it can't be, you know, because that was a 14-issue thing with Spider-Man weaving in and out as like.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing is it was based around Spider-Man more than Venom. So it's like, what were they going to do anyway?
And like, what was cool about it was like, Spider-Man is like, Venom, you're a reflection of me. Like, you're an evil piece of shit and I made you.
Yeah.
And Venom's like, oh, that's how I feel about Carnage. Oh, shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And like,
yeah,
he has that moment. You can't have that moment.
I
so it's
know.
like, to me, I was like, all right, whatever. If I see some cool shit, you know, some cool visuals and I laugh, fine.
Yeah, I get it. I hear that. And to be honest, like
I understand where you're coming from too.
Yeah, like,
it's not good.
well, leaving Venom 3, which was recent, I saw that at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton, Colorado.
Okay.
And
what's their theme?
Their theme was like this ghost. I think it's like a ghost bar. It was weird because the actual theater didn't have that much theming besides 3 gigantic Yetis coming from the top, like the snow monster.
Yeah.
And they're cool. I have pictures of them. I'll show them to you. They're cool. And then they have like a very full real bar as well, like more bigger than the Staten Island, the one we go to, the bar area. And Natalie and I were leaving, my girlfriend, and I said, we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I didn't like this, and we're going through it. And she's like, you know, like, she's like, it's weird that people get so shitty about movies. I go, I gotta be honest. I'm like, I enjoyed watching the movie, even though I thought it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I enjoyed that.
You know what it's like? It honestly is like, you go into McDonald's, you just like, I just need a quick McDouble.
Yeah.
They give it to you. It's like, I recognize this is shit food.
Yeah.
But you know what? It hit the fucking spot.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, I was pretty disappointed in Venom 3 too, but it's like, I think that it's one of those things where it's almost like when you watch a good movie, that experience doesn't exist unless you watch bad movies too.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like, whatever. What, we watched it. What are you going to do?
It's not like it was like Skinamarink where you're like, oh my fucking God, what am I doing here?
Yes. That's like a different level of like time wasting. But even when, you and I watched The Watchers, did we watch it together or separately?
We watched it together.
Yeah. And we podcasted about it. But like, even that, I like the process of being like, why would they do this? This should have been this storyline. Why would they go in this direction? And you start considering things and looking. I even like that engagement with a movie.
It's fun.
It's fun. So it's like, it's fine. It's fine. But so Venom, first one I think is like,
If you saw the first two, you may as well see this one.
Yes. And I will say again, I do think Venom's one of my favorite characters. It's what got me into comics. So I probably feel more like a little bitch about this than I do about other things. I will say, too, they did something in Marvel and the MCU movies that was kind of a similar thing, which is like one of my favorite storylines ever is Dark Reign, which is when Norman Osborn becomes the head of the Dark Avengers. And he was the Iron Patriot.
Yes.
And they were like, hey, in Iron Man 2, we're just going to give War Machine a repaint.
3.
You're 3.
Yeah.
We're going to give him a repaint and call him the Iron Patriot for there's no storyline attached to it. It doesn't pay off in some way. It doesn't do it. I don't know why they did it besides to make a new action figure.
That's the reason.
Exactly. And that sucked because I'm like,
it's a waste.
Why are you wasting this? But I didn't care as much as this because I love Venom. I love Carnage. So to me, Sony is just like, but I don't care that Morbius sucks. And I don't care that Madam Web sucks because I don't care about those characters. But with Venom and Carnage, it annoys me a little bit.
Well, you have
more.
the attachment to them, which is like, that's how I feel when Spider-Man things aren't handled properly. It's like I'm not the biggest Venom fan. Like, I like him, but to me, I feel like it kind of is almost like the cheese dick's favorite character. Not
Yeah.
you, but it's like people who don't know anything about comics. They'll be like, Venom is sick, bro. It's like, you don't fucking know anything.
I
you
think I like Venom though in the same way I like the Green Goblin, where it's like I like Venom as part of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, and he's one of the ones that to me is the most like to me Black Cat and Catwoman are like the same, where it's like it's a love interest, good, bad, who knows. But like Venom is kind of a cooler version of, is he a good guy, is he a bad guy in the world of Spider-Man. I like the idea that they have to
And I
team
like
up
how they
sometimes.
built to it, where it's like, I hate you so fucking much, but like, I see you're saving people. Like,
I like that.
yeah, I love their dynamic together.
Me too.
And I even like where they've taken it in recent years, where like they kind of like are almost closer now. You know, like there was this awesome Spider-Man arc a couple of years ago where, long story short, Green Goblin got the Carnage symbiote.
I know the Red Goblin. I
And he
never read
became
it.
Red
Is it
Goblin.
awesome?
It was pretty fucking sick. Because,
I know.
Like, it was the end of Slot's run, and like he's the fucking Red Goblin, and everyone's trying to stop him. And Peter goes to Venom, and he's like, "There's only one thing we could do that'll make us stronger." And the symbiote fucking bonds back with Peter.
Really?
To go fight the Red Goblin.
That's cool. See, I didn't read it. I just know about it. That's very cool.
It's a sick moment when it happens. You're like, ah!
Oh, I bet that's fucking awesome. So I think that even starting off on the foot of we're gonna make a movie about a character who is so based off another character, and we're gonna ignore the existence of that first one.
It's hard.
It's just like, what are you doing?
I think it's the problem with a lot of these villain movies, because they work as metaphors or obstacles for Spider-Man. Like a Dr. Octopus movie. What, like, you couldn't do a Doc Ock movie.
Yeah.
You could do a Superior Spider-Man movie. It would be weird.
You'd
but
need Spider-Man though.
yeah,
Still.
you still need Spider-Man. It's like, you're gonna tell those story about fucking a doctor who's like
I know.
like a fat nerd? I don't know. It's like,
I know. I completely agree. I mean, I think that that's. See, I can't believe you didn't see Madam Web.
I wanted to. I was working at Alamo Draft Test at the time, and I was so busy, and we have the kid. It's like, to get to a movie is hard.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if I'm gonna get to a movie, would I rather watch Madam Web or like something I want to see that's gonna be good? You know?
Yeah. I watched it with my buddy Brad. He hated it so much, and man, oh man, it was an enjoyable watch though. It's funny. And then I listened to the How Did This Get Made episode, which is a podcast I really like about it, and it's fucking hilarious. And they pointed out so many things that I missed. The fact that
I remember I was delivering food, and there was one line where like, I think Sydney Sweeney is like, I do karate and I'm really good at it now, or something like that. It was like the worst dialogue I've ever heard.
so
I was
bizarre.
laughing as I was fucking hearing it.
And you notice Adam Scott is Uncle Ben in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole time they're like, oh, we're going to have a baby. And it's like, it's so fucking bizarre, dude.
It also
But
doesn't make sense because you're Uncle Ben. You're not Peter's father.
I don't understand. I think it's his sister, but I don't know what the deal is. I don't, now that I think about it, you're right. Like, what was the deal? I thought it was him. I'll have to look this up.
When I first heard the premise for the movie, I was actually excited for it because I thought you could have done it really cool.
Yeah.
Because the leaked premise I had heard was Topher Grace's Venom, when he gets blown up, right?
Yeah.
Fell through a time. This is what I had heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, this would be kind of cool. He fell through a time rift and he ended up back in the 60s. And Madam Web sees this. And he's like, oh, I'm going to kill Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So the movie is like Back to the Future, where they're trying to get Richard and Mary Parker together to have Peter, and Venom's trying to break them. I was like,
That's
that,
cool.
That'd be a fun movie.
Oh, yeah. That's a fun movie. But yeah, it's not like that.
No. Yeah, that would have been fun.
Yeah. So Venom 3, marketing. Here's my issue. Spider-Man No Way Home came out, and the concept behind No Way Home is that everyone who knows who Peter Parker is came into the MCU. Why does that mean that Eddie Brock comes through?
I'll tell you. There's a line in Venom 2, which will tell you.
Okay.
So in Venom 2, and I think they tease Null in each of the movies, which is what really pissed me off about the third one. But they tease Null in each of the first movies, and I'm still actively reading comics. Well, I don't have time to read them, but I'm still buying them. I stopped a couple years ago, but I'm still collecting. Anyway, so they tell you about Null, but there's a line in, I think, the first or second one where he's like, we have the knowledge of the cosmos and the multiverses. So anything that the Venom symbiote knows.
That's in the post-credit scene after Venom 2, when they're in the hotel room and the MCU thing happens.
So he knows about multiverses, and he has the knowledge of all the multiverses due to some mystical alien bullshit. So that's why it pulls him in there. Because
so follow that rabbit hole. What does that mean? The symbiote knows about Spider-Man, but Eddie Brock doesn't?
Yeah, Eddie Brock has no
How
clue.
would symbiote know about it?
Because the symbiote is connected to the symbiote, like through the multiverse knowledge that was on Topher Grace.
Oh, okay. So you're saying, okay, I get it. You okay? All
because
right.
that one knows
That's a reach and a half, my friend. That's a crazy reach.
that is what it is, though.
Okay, so the two scenes that were kind of like leading up to this were post-credit scene in No Way Home, where Eddie Brock and Venom get pulled into the MCU. They go to a bar.
Yeah.
And Eddie Brock is talking to the bartender about Thanos and Hulk and whatever. And then Doctor Strange in the movie closes the rift and Eddie Brock goes back to his universe. Okay,
Yep.
We see that. Then, and I'm not sure which one came out first, but in Venom 2...
Venom 2 was first.
Venom 2, they're in a hotel room at the end, wearing the same outfit, by the way. And essentially the same thing happens. And they're in a hotel room where it changes around them. They go into the MCU. They see the report about Peter Parker on the television, and Venom starts licking the television.
Yes.
Now, before we even get into the implications of this, what happened? Like both things, what happened? Did they both happen from No Way Home? Why did Venom...
Yeah. It's the same time frame.
So you think he got okay? So what happened was in Venom 2, he
goes to
into
Mexico.
MCU.
He gets zapped into MCU Mexico.
Right.
The events of No Way Home are happening up in New York.
Yeah.
He goes to the bar and is trying to drink and understand what's happening in MCU Mexico.
Yeah.
And then he gets sucked back to his before he ever gets there. He's not even in America at the time.
So in Venom 2, he's sucked into the MCU. And in No Way Home, he goes back to the
At the
other
end.
verse. Okay, so
But he leaves a piece of the symbiote behind.
okay, so that's what we have for information. So leaving No Way Home, leaving Venom 2, we're like, okay, there's some symbiote in the MCU, which is this little piece, whatever. Then Venom 3 trailers start coming out.
Yes.
Okay, here's what they have in the trailer: Mordo from Doctor Strange,
Well, the actor,
the actor as a new character,
Yes.
and Risa Fons,
the lizard.
the Lizard, who was in Amazing Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home,
Yes.
as another character with a big beard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just playing guitar in a van. And it shows the actor who plays Mordo in the bar that Venom left the thing in, which is supposed to be in the MCU. That's all we know at the time.
Yeah.
And we see him catch the symbiote. So in the trailer, you're like, is that Dr. Connors, Risa Fons in the future, a couple years in the future? Is that an alternate universe Mordo?
What's happening?
Is that, and then how are they in the MCU bar? Okay, so they have all these things floating, and they're like, this is the final Venom movie. Eddie Brock, no more after this. So you go in and you're like, they've got to take him to the fucking MCU in this. Look at all these fucking.
It's the only thing that could make sense.
It's the only thing that makes sense with all these trailers.
Or my thought was, he'll die, but they'll set up something where the symbiote gets to the MCU at the end.
Right, and then this is the knowledge from the trailer, as well as Venom licking the Spider-Man face on the thing of Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is this? Now let me throw this out there. Another problem in Morbius.
That's a fucking shit show.
It's the same universe, because at one point he goes, who? Someone says, who are you? And he goes in a scary face and he goes, I'm Venom. Just kidding. I'm Dr. Morbius. I'm Dr. Michael Morbius. Right? So same universe.
He knows who Venom is.
He knows who Venom is. In the trailer for Morbius, there's a Spider-Man mural with
it's Raimi Spider-Man.
And it says murderer.
Yep.
Spray painted across.
Cut out of the movie.
This is when people thought that Spider-Man murdered Mysterio.
Yep.
In the MCU. And at the end of the movie, Michael Keaton's Vulture comes through.
For no
reason at all.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense that he would be blasting
because
here.
even within the rules of the movies that we've just watched.
Yeah.
In No Way Home, people who know Peter Parker or Spider-Man are supposed to get sucked into the MCU.
Yes.
He's already in the MCU.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense for him to be sent to another universe.
Exactly.
It's a giant plot hole that they were like, I don't know, we'll just fucking have a cameo.
And for people out there who are like, this is a lot of very specific stuff, don't worry, we're going to get rid of this in a second. But I will say, all of this to me is Sony strong-arming Marvel to say, you want Spider-Man? You got to give us a post-credit scene in Morbius with one of the villains. You got to have Eddie Brock in the post-credit scene of No Way Home. And we want Tom Holland to appear in the post-credit scene of Venom 3. Because we want people to be tricked. This is literally what I think is I want them to be, they know, we want them to be tricked.
We want to make our garbage Sony Spider-Man villain movies, and we want to sucker people into thinking they're watching MCU movies.
Even though that they know they're not, Sony knows they're not leading there. They know that's not going to happen. They're saying, we want to trick them though and get them through the door, which fucking sucks to me. Sucks.
I mean, it's such a dirty business practice, but it's like, here's the thing. You're only going to be able to do that so many times. And the amount of characters that you have that people actually give a fuck about are dwindling.
Yes.
It's like maybe Craven is going to be a little hot because he was really good in that last Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
But it's like, who else do you got fucking? Black Cat? Maybe? I'm trying to think. Like, you're not doing a fucking Chameleon movie. Agent Venom is cool looking. Maybe some people will go. But
I bet Agent Venom, you could do it because of Venom, the Venom trilogy.
Yeah, and like he looks cool. I think that'll get one. But I'm like, who else do you got that people give a fuck about? Prowler? Like, no one's going to see a fucking Prowler movie. Scorpion. Yeah.
Hobgoblin. Yeah, I don't know.
But as far as that can hold their own movie,
I know.
It's like,
I agree. So all of that, so the post-credit scenes, the Morbius bullshit, the fucking the trailer for Venom 3, the announcement that it's gonna be the last one. You're like, okay. And also, surrounding that, now we're getting fucking Daredevil is back in the MCU. The Fantastic Four, Chris Evans, Human Torch, Deadpool and Wolverine, bringing in Elektra and Blade. Everyone, we all know we're leading to Secret Wars. They brought back Toby and Andrew in No Way Home.
All the villains.
So yeah, all the villains from the Sony movies. So Sony is like, let's trick people and get them through the door, which to me is like, that's only going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth. It seems so crazy because I trust Sony. When Venom first came out, I was like, okay, I'll go see Venom. Open on my expectations, sure, whatever, we'll see. Then it's like they were like Venom, Morbius, Venom 2, Madam Web, Venom 3, and I'm like, I fucking hate you guys. So I think that they're really fucking over their fan base, and I think they're making people hate them.
Well, it's like, look, let's be real. Like, other than the first two Spider-Mans are universally beloved. Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Tobey ones.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man 3. Most people don't.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 weren't very successful.
They weren't.
It's like Sony. Avi Arad is the greatest Spider-Man villain because he fucking just makes garbage.
I will say, much like the original X-Men trilogy, I wasn't super invested in the Tobey trilogy, but I respected it and I liked what they were doing and I liked that they were doing it. I recognized that Spider-Man 3 was of much lower quality. When Amazing Spider-Man came out, I liked the first one. I thought it was pretty good. And then the second one, I thought the death of Gwen Stacy was probably the best thing in any Spider-Man movie ever at that point in time. Just in terms of the way that it was constructed, the way that she fell, and the way that he shot the web and it's slow motion going past all the stuff. It looks so good, and then she dies, and the way she died was like way more fucked up than I thought.
Well, that's how it is in the comics.
I know. And I thought the whole part was great. I thought Andrew Garfield was killer in that scene. I mean, bringing it back from.
Can I tell you something? So she's in the coat from the comics.
I know.
I was watching it in theaters. Me and my sister, we saw it midnight. Right? I was like, "Come with me." And when she died and it happened like that, I went, yeah, in the theater because I was like a comic nerd. I was just so happy to see it, and people were looking at me like, "What the fuck?"
I couldn't believe they did it. Did you hear about the plans for Amazing Spider-Man 3?
3? I probably knew it and forgot it.
Spider-Man was gonna. I don't know how this happened before. Spider-Man, I think, made a deal with Mephisto to bring Aunt May back to life.
Yeah, in the comics.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
He was gonna bring Captain Stacy back to life, and Dennis Leary was gonna be back.
Why not bring back Gwen?
I mean, maybe it was both of them. But I think Dennis Leary said that because Dennis Leary's the one that said this in an interview.
Okay.
I think maybe they came back and they were evil. Maybe he goes to the pet cemetery.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Sometimes dead is better, Peter.
And he's like, yeah. And he's digging.
Yeah.
But going into Venom 3, I'm like, fuck these idiots. I know they're going to trick me. And I was like, at the end, here's what I expected. At the end of the movie, somehow, I figured it would end with a scene with Tom Holland. And it would be like the symbiote is definitely in the MCU. Even if it just goes back to the beginning of like how they had it in the bar. That's what you expected?
I thought, so this is where I thought it was going. I thought at the end of the movie, in order to stop Null, Eddie's going to have to like kill himself, but he's going to send Venom into the MCU through some magical bullshit, whatever, in order to like, so the symbiote can get to someone in that universe where they know about all the heroes and they could prepare for Null.
Something like that.
I thought that's what was going to happen. So Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock would die, but the symbiote will carry on. And then I thought for sure they were building up Spider-Man 4 is Peter's depressed. He gets the black suit, and he has it the whole movie. And this goes into my Spider-Man 4 thoughts where they need a big bad. I was like, oh, that's clearly going to be Null.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought maybe that was basically a version of what would happen. I didn't know how much would be set up or if they just leave it very ambiguous, but the symbiote lives on. I was positive it was going to be Eddie Brock that dies and not Venom. But anyway, when they opened the movie and they opened here, it made it worse. They opened it in the MCU.
Yes.
Where Eddie Brock is in the MCU and he gets zapped back.
It's the post-credit scene.
It's the post-credit scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. I was like, I whispered to Natalie, I'm like, if they open in the MCU and go back to his universe and they don't end by going back into MCU, I'm like, they're fucking crazy for teasing the audience like this. So they go back and then he's in the bar and they're like, where should we go? We can't go back to LA. And they look and there's just like a Statue of Liberty thing. And he's like, we should go to New York. And I'm like, this is so thin that the reason they're going to New York is because they see a Statue of Liberty toy, that they have to be going there because they're setting up something with the MCU where Peter Parker is, where the Avengers
or Andrew
are.
Garfield Spider-Man is there. Something.
And so it's like, what the fuck? And that was a thought I had going in. I go, there is a world in which Sony comes up with enough money to say Andrew Garfield. The reveal at the end of Venom 3 is going to be that this took place in the world of Amazing Spider-Man, and we just need you to do a cameo. Let's see how it goes.
And
if the movie built it big, maybe we do something where we bring it back. Yes, exactly. So it's
because
like
everyone wants that online.
Yeah,
which I don't know why, because I thought the first two sucked, but whatever.
I'm surprised that people. We'll talk about it, but like, I can't believe how much they set up to trick their audience and slap their faces. You know what I mean? And slap them in the face with shit in their mouth and a dick in their brain.
And it ain't Joker way, like where I love the Joker for it. It's like, it's like, no, this is just garbage.
This is just
Eat
terrible.
it. Yeah.
So watching it, I was still excited the whole time. By the end, when nothing happened, like literally nothing, including like even on the merits of its own story, they fucking blew it in terms of what they introduced in that movie and where they went with it. I was really like, what is wrong over there? Like, so crazy.
They really missed out on having a big villain for a big moment at the end. It's like the final threat is one of the worst villains overall in a superhero movie, maybe since Incredible Hulk 2003, when he's like fucking fighting poodles. Like, it's that level.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So, watching it, I was like, I had some fun in the theater. I thought that, there's a scene where Venom is jumping from animal to animal.
That scene is so cool. And when I was watching it, I thought of you. I was like, Chuck's going to love this scene.
I thought that was awesome. And it's the first time they've really done anything like that in these movies. I thought that was great. And I really liked the scene at some point. Eddie Brock meets the family. And by the way, you know who the wife is? Because I was like, who the fuck is that wife?
I don't know.
Do you remember the waitress in the movie Waiting? Who's like
the
really
angry one?
Yeah, that's her.
Really?
Because I always thought she was so attractive in Waiting, and I saw this girl. And I'm like,
when she shows her hairy muff.
Oh, I hate that part. I'm like, this ruins.
I
the
just
movie.
rewatched it last night or two nights ago. It was on. I was like flipping through the channels, and it was on TV, and I watched it.
Yeah, no, I like Waiting, but I thought I was so attracted to that waitress in Waiting, which probably came out 21 years ago. I'm guessing it came out 2003.
I think it's 2005.
All right, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, around then. So that was the wife. But when they're in the car, in the van, and they're singing together, and the symbiote is singing in Eddie's head, and he says to Eddie, like, you know, sometimes I think that we could have been happy having a life like this.
All right.
I loved it.
This is what I gotta say. I never thought when they started a Venom series, it would be a parable about a gay relationship. Like, let's be real. The Venom symbiote is gay. He's gay coded. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But that's what they're clearly doing. Like, and the choices they make as far as their relationship together, it's almost like they're coming to terms in it. And in fact, in Venom 2, I think he goes to a gay rave and he's like, party, Eddie.
So I'll give you my thoughts. I think that it's just, here's how I think they got there. It's very common in all the bromance movies, from like Pineapple Express, Superbad, I Love You Man, all those things. There's always jokes about the characters being romantically linked in some way.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a common thing in all those movies. And I think that it's just the place to go for comedy in this is the Odd Couple place for Eddie and Venom.
Yeah.
And so I think it just has the same jokes. That's my take on it, on why it's so much like that. I know that people think that they really went overboard in Venom 2, and they're probably right. I don't remember the exact jokes, but I think the relationship is okay. I think it works most of the time.
It's one of my favorite things in the movie, honestly. Like, I like them as a gay couple, honestly. I think it's funny, but I think it also has the moments where it's very heartfelt.
Me too.
Where it's like, it's awesome. Like, I love the scene, and I know you love this scene too, where there's a little kid and he's asking Eddie Brock if aliens exist, and he goes, no, aliens aren't real. And the Venom symbiote's like, that was a good thing to not scare the child.
Yeah, and he says, like, you would have been a good dad.
Yeah, it's like, I would have loved raising kids with you or something like that. It's like,
see, you're pulling it a little bit.
We can adopt a little Colombian boy and bring him home.
You're pulling it in the gay world. You're like, we can wear these matching. No, but like, yeah, like, honestly, those two scenes are back to back. It's them singing in the car. Eddie says the thing about we could have been happy. It goes to night. The kid asks the thing. And I'm like, who wrote these two scenes that are like awesome back to back in the middle of this Resident Evil 10 movie?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. But overall, like, I mean, we're going spoiler, obviously.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, there's a part in the beginning where, okay, so the scene in the trailer of them catching the symbiote is the Venom universe version of the same bar where he did the exact same thing in the MCU, which is so weak and shitty.
Well, they say he's like shedding almost.
Yeah, but it's just an excuse to shoehorn it in. So dumb. Then that guy who's I don't know the actor's name. He plays Mordo. We're just gonna call him Mordo.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I think we'll stick with Mordo.
Yeah.
He goes to the army base and he's like, "What? We're shutting this project down? Sounds good, sir." And he hits a button and the thing of acid melts like a van.
All right, so
like,
it's
what the fuck happened?
So it's Area 51, and they have built the base where they have giant hanging vats of acid throughout Area 51. And in order to get rid of things, like they'll drive a truck that they need to get rid of everything in there and then hit this, and acid will pour on it and dissolve it.
And obviously, by the end of the movie, you find out that they're just setting up to show you that they have that. But it's such a bizarre, dumb thing to have that I'm like, why did you need this? Why couldn't you have like a dome where you get rid of things, or I don't know. It was so weak.
So you built your base so you just have acid above everybody's head at all times. It's the weirdest fucking thing.
And you keep aliens here.
Yeah.
We openly know there was aliens. So that's stupid. Then they show this flashback of the cute blonde doctor with her brother on the beach, and they get hit by lightning.
Yes.
And the brother dies, and so she carries on, which I'm fine with that. But not for it to absolutely go nowhere.
It doesn't really affect anything other than
it's at the end that she has lightning speed. I guess. Is she the Flash?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's one more thing with that doctor that I fucking hate. I don't know if we talked about this. The doctor is totally like an altruistic good guy, right? Through and through. Except 60% of the way through the movie, there's one scene where they go, the only way to kill the big bad guy is to kill either Eddie Brock or Venom. And she goes, then we got to kill him. And they go, whoa, 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 whoa. And she goes, sacrifice for science. And then they're like, what? And then they get away from that and they never go back to it. And she just kind of like
helps them, right?
She kind of, yeah.
And or is it the black chick who helps them?
They both do.
Okay.
I mean, it was more the black girl, but it's weird because right there they played with the idea of twisting her into a bad guy.
Yeah.
And then they just were like, forget
Yeah.
about that.
That's too much character.
Yeah, it was crazy. So all that stuff's happened. Venom is running because he killed people. I don't remember why he's running. I mean, I know why they're chasing him.
Because that plays into this one. And in Venom 2, I believe,
yes.
there was that security guard who got a symbiote on him and dies.
Okay.
Right? Or that was in the first one, whatever.
Yeah.
And that guy is in like a room in this one.
Okay, yeah.
His
corpse.
corpse.
Yeah.
So the police think Eddie Brock is a murderer. That has to be Venom 2. And that's why they're in this one. And
I
he's
see.
on the lam.
And for the record, I would like to say I liked the opening scene of the dog fighting guys getting killed.
I thought that was fun.
It was awesome. It was very fun. It was like that's the fun action moment in Resident Evil where you're like, this is fun. This is cool. And then the story happens.
I thought most of the action until the third act was handled pretty decently.
Okay, yeah. I think the action.
And the comedic beats were fun enough. Like,
yeah.
There's a moment where they have to get into a casino and they're outside the Bellagio and there's like a guy pissing.
Yeah.
And Venom goes and beats him up and they take the suit.
Yeah. It felt a little weird. I was like, why is this happening right now? But whatever.
It's a comedic moment.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So I think it goes into the story. It's going out. They're going after Venom. Venom is like, I'm going to New York. And then he just gets completely rerouted to Area 51, which is like, just like a coincidence, right? Like that's what it is in the movie. It's like the family we happen to be going to the place of the people that are chasing you.
It's very weird. It's like, because I guess what else are they doing in Vegas?
Yeah, I guess. Yes, exactly. So that's all weird. They're chasing him. I'm like, okay, I guess, we're doing this thing. They have 6 symbiotes in the actual, in Area 51. And they get there.
Well, there's another scene in Vegas we got to talk about real quick.
Yeah. So the whole concept revolves around the fact that
there's these alien dogs, basically.
Yes, and Null, who is a character we've never seen before, he's chained up. I don't really understand. He invented the symbiotes, and then he was too evil, so the symbiotes have him like chained up or tied up. But he still has control over these weird symbiote dogs.
Yes.
The aphoge or whatever it's called. And
Xenophage.
Xenophage. So he's like, go get Venom. Get Venom. There's only one symbiote who completely.
It's a codex.
Yeah, who completely bonded with a human, and they've created a codex so you can see it.
The codex is when you resurrect a dead human.
Right. Okay, that's right. And they're like, the Xenophage finds Venom. They attack. Venom knows what it is. He explains it to Eddie.
He says, if I fully become Venom, the thing will know we're here.
It gives it like a beacon, basically.
Yeah.
And so the whole movie, they can't be Venom. Fine, whatever. And like I said, I love the head coming out. I like all that stuff.
They do cool things with it.
I like that a lot. But then at the end, the reason that the thing finds Venom...
They go to the casino and they run into Mrs. Kim
from
their bodega in San Francisco.
So it's a coincidence that she's in Las Vegas and in the same fucking casino, right?
And they're like, you look so beautiful tonight. And Venom, the symbiote, not Eddie Brock, says, I need to dance. I have to dance. And I'm so gay, I have to dance with her. And they go and they have an elaborate, beautiful dance number, which is semi-touching. But it makes no sense because
semi-touching.
The fate of the world and the multiverse and all life throughout the cosmos is in danger, and you just have to go dance.
So, like, even when army guys are shooting at Eddie Brock, they're not bonding together because the world is in danger. But when Venom wants to dance with Mrs. Kim or Miss Chen or whatever her name is, they dance.
I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion.
What is that from?
I don't know.
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. Okay.
Venom. I just called him Venom.
That's what we should call him.
The Get Him symbiote. Yeah. That's funny.
He pops up. Hey, Walt. Hey, boss.
So
how you stankin'?
Yeah. So
we are stankin'.
We are stankin' is great. That is funny. The Get Him symbiote is really funny. Wow. So that's genius. It's weird because I don't know how many people would get it, but it's fucking
if you
great.
know.
Yeah, if you know, you're happy. That part is fucking insane. It's insane that it's just what I think about is the writer's room on these fucking movies where it's like someone's like, well, what if he just does the same thing as an MCU and he leaves a little piece of himself on the bar? so fucking weak. Like, come up with a different thing. Then it's like, well, what if the reason they finds him is he bonds to dance with that lady from the convenience store? What are you talking about, dude? It's every move they make. It's so ill-advised. It's so ill-advised.
It seems like with a simple third act structure, you could have really fixed a lot of the problems in this movie.
That's what kills me. I mean, when we talked about Watchers, and we talked about another movie that I felt like similarly about, I can't remember which one it was now.
Beetlejuice.
I mean, Beetlejuice had similar
Yeah.
issues, yeah. But it's like, how did this get past? It's just crazy. So they go into the final act or battle, and the Xenophage finds that Venom because of that. They're going to Area 51. And they have the whole symbiote orgy where basically they have all these symbiotes in like glass and they all come out and they go on different guards and
they make a bunch of different subtle comic references.
Very subtle.
To various symbiotes that have existed in the comics, and they get like a second or two of screen time in a fight.
It's so ridiculous. So you know what is exactly the same as is Iron Man 3's ending.
Yes.
Right? But the thing is with Iron Man 3...
This movie is very much like Iron Man 3, because I was thinking that before, because he can't become Iron Man. He can't become Venom.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, with Iron Man 3, they're suits, and Tony Stark is jumping from suit to suit, and they have different...
functions,
and like this positive because of this one's better for this. But the symbiotes are all essentially the same. Like, they look different. One of them goes fast, and that's the only difference, right?
Yeah, other than that, they're all basically the same.
And they go, and it's not even Eddie jumping into different ones and having different experiences. It's just random people.
Scientists and guards, and they're all like, oh, we're on the same page now.
It's just so
And if you remember in the first Venom, not everyone is compatible with this symbiote. It's a big thing.
I think that they just completely went against
Oh, they were just like, fuck it.
Yeah. So dumb, really weird. The Xenophage comes, and
well, when we spoke about it, I had an idea based on the end credits for this scene, which I think would have made so much more sense and been so cool. So for some reason, the end credits of this movie,
they're fucking awesome.
It's so cool. They show various animals venomized, like what they would look like with the Venom symbiote. This scene would have been so much cooler if it was like an animal testing facility, and they broke these symbiotes and they got on like gorillas, elephants,
wish I had roses to throw at
all
you.
this shit, and it was like Venom with like an animal symbiote army against these things.
And the thing is too, it's like, yeah, it's so good. It's such a good idea. It's so weird that they didn't do it.
It's visually interesting because they had the idea because it's in the end credits.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder, is there a possibility that they? I mean, I hate to say this. I mean, I guess I don't really see Venom action figures, but did they do it just to sell different action figures of those symbiotes?
I don't even think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it was just like,
well, to me, it's like if they had, like you said, if they had all the animal designs, was that originally part of the possibility of the closing? Because like that would have been so cool. The animal testing facility, and he has to keep going into different things and whatever. And maybe, because I'm like, why would he jump into different animals? I'm just trying to figure it out in my head.
No, so I don't think it's him. I think you should do the other symbiotes going on them. You know?
That's possible.
And I think that still makes sense.
Well, this is weird. I think maybe that was part of the original plan. You know why? Opening scene. They go to protect the dogs.
You're right.
If it was animal testing, here's what I was going to say. The reason that he could jump onto different ones is because they're going to kill them. Or like, let's say the Xenophage or whatever the big threat's going to be is about to go after an elephant. The Venom symbiote jumps on the elephant to protect the elephant and fight the thing. Then he's about to do something to a tiger, so he jumps on the tiger and protects the thing.
And doing all these cool things. And like, he's like picking the elephant up as like a gorilla, you know? And like,
yeah. And like, but it's so weird that they opened with the dog thing and then didn't do that.
And they have the scene where he's jumping with the fish and stuff. Because
Yeah,
it's almost
you're
like
right.
they're setting it up.
Wow, that's weird.
And the end credit has the design. So it's very bizarre that you would do that and not pay it off.
Yeah.
When it's an easy
And
slam dunk.
You're right. It's weird. It's like if you combine the dog scene in the beginning where they establish that he thinks that this is wrong and they should care about the dogs. And then you take the other one where he's jumping from the fish to the frog, all that stuff. And then you put those together, you get the ending we're talking about.
Yeah.
And they have the designs in the credit. It's so weird.
Do you think that was the plan and it was like a studio note and they changed it?
I mean, I don't know what it could be. I don't know why they wouldn't do, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, maybe there's a reason they did the other symbiotes, but they're so like,
Nobody
gives a fuck?
shit. I'm a comic fan. I can't name more than 4 or 5 symbiotes.
Yeah,
it's
me
like
neither.
most of them are just garbage rip-off characters. Like,
Exactly. I think it's Venom, Carnage, Toxin, and Toxin really only exists to link Carnage and Venom.
exactly.
And it's like I don't really know the other ones.
There's Poison.
Get him's got something to say. What do you got
What's
to say,
up?
Get him? Is there a symbiote that you like that you think we're not giving the right amount of love to?
No, I think audiences would be upset if they used a dog army and the dogs got injured. Versus humans can get killed, but if it was an animal, I think that the audience would rebel against it.
Well, we're talking about
even though it's cool.
We're talking about the idea that maybe Venom goes on it to protect them all, and so he saves everyone. Like if they go to
The aliens had the animals had the codex.
yeah, there you go. I don't know.
The
Maybe
idea that an animal could get hurt would put off audiences.
perhaps that could be part of it. It could be
Like-
part of it.
Walking Dead. No one cares that a little girl got shot in the head, but the horse gets killed.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. There's a lot of examples of animals getting killed and stuff, and people being pissed off. There's a whole website. There's a website called DoesTheDogDie.com,
Yeah.
and it tells you if an animal gets hurt during a movie.
So
It could be. Get him could be correct. That
so
could be
these
part
are
of it.
just some of the symbiotes. I won't say the ones we named: Scream, Riot, Agony, Hybrid, Mania, Kroba. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like
it's like they don't have. Yeah. Anyway, you're right. Even the people who are fans of Venom, I don't think they have awareness of these characters.
no, because they're just garbage rip-off characters that like. I guess it would be cool. What if they were just like we did like a black and red one now? You know, it's like
Exactly. So, I mean, one thing I would like, by the way, side note, I've always looked like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, the aliens in Alien are called xenomorphs,
yes.
and Venom's the symbiote has been referred to as xenomorph in Marvel Comics before.
Have they?
I read it, yeah,
Okay.
because it means like foreign
Morph creature.
yeah, something like that. As Aliens went on, they introduced the concept of the black goo in Aliens as well.
Okay.
And they look similar, where they're covered in black
I know
and
what
they're
you're talking
dripping and
about.
they have the teeth. And because Marvel now owns Fox,
Mm-hmm.
so Marvel owns the film rights to the Aliens and Marvel owns the comic book rights to the Aliens. Right now, there's a series called Aliens versus Avengers with the aliens.
Oh, that's out now?
Yeah, with the xenomorphs. I
know they're doing like Wolverine versus Predator or something like
Yeah,
that, which
they
I
are.
think seems fucking cool.
I think, oh yeah, but I think that like I'm not saying they would do this in the movie, but I always wanted them to link the symbiotes to the history of the xenomorphs as well.
It'd be-
And that'd be fucking awesome.
I mean, they could do it now.
They should exactly. They should. But
Xenomorph, by the way, technically means strange shape.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But yeah, so the ending was so weird, and what happens is the Venom symbiote, gets off of Eddie Brock, and here's what's weird. So it contains a bunch of those xenophages, where I'm like, well, if it can contain them, why didn't it do that earlier? Because it did.
Exactly.
It gets like 4 of them or something. And basically says goodbye to Eddie Brock. He puts a steel door over him to protect him from the acid, and like puts his hand on it.
And he kills himself.
And then he pulls the acid thing, and we're like, I guess this is why they had an
Yeah.
acid thing. And he kills himself, and Venom is dead, as it shows it.
Yeah. Eddie's name is cleared.
Eddie's name is cleared.
And he goes to the New York. He goes to
He goes to New York, and I'm like, still, I was like, is he going to see Tom Holland? Is something going to happen?
or even like a Daily Bugle thing. Something.
Something. Nothing happens. They play Maroon 5's Memories or whatever, and they do this montage. Now, I'm such a bitch, and I'm so easily manipulated.
I got emotional.
Me too.
I'll admit it.
the popcorn kernels.
Look, we're a sensitive bunch, I got invested in this gay relationship, and I can't help it, and I'm mad enough to admit it. I was sitting there, I was like, man, like this is really like getting me. I hope I don't cry in front of Walt and get him, because I'm gonna be mocked relentlessly.
Dude,
I didn't cry.
I teared up.
Okay.
I just had a tear, but I was also judgmental of the choice, because I'm like, A, they're using scenes that we just saw minutes ago. B,
Remember when they were in the car 30 minutes ago?
then B, in the timeline of the movie, it's been a year.
Yeah.
It's been for the entire series.
Oh, from Venom 1?
Yes, it's only been a year.
That's insane.
In the movie, towards the end, or when maybe he's walking or something, he's like, I can't believe it's been a year since we met. And Eddie Brock goes, it's only been a year or something like that.
Wow.
In the woods before
I
they
didn't
meet the
know
family.
that.
So it's only been a year. They're using scenes we just saw, and the song is too current. I
Yes.
also think the song was it was like
the song wasn't emotional enough for what you're going for. Like it should have been like what's that fucking Stevie Nicks song?
Yeah.
Landslide.
Yeah,
You know?
see that although that does seem heavy-handed. So weird.
So like
weird.
friggin' Steel Magnolia shit, you know?
And I'm like, Eddie Brock's walking in fucking New York. He goes to the dock and he looks at the Statue of Liberty, which I do think there is something kind of cool with the idea of the Statue of Liberty supposed to be accepting people from other places. That's what it is. I really do think the idea of like Eddie, Venom could have come.
Well, Venom is like, the whole thing is like, I'm an alien and I have found my place here with you and I'm happy here and I want to live here with you. And it's like, I have to sacrifice myself to stop the fucking alien dog thing.
Yeah.
All right. And I want to talk, before we get into the other post-credits, the third act of this.
Well, we should talk about Null too.
That's what I was about to segue to. So the whole movie is like, and even all of them, because the first movie has hints at Null. The second movie strongly has hints at Null.
Mm-hmm.
And the third movie, they tease it early on. So you think that we're going to get some sort of confrontation.
I wouldn't call it a tease. I would call it a
setup.
storyline. It's the storyline of the movie.
It's a setup. The big bad Null is coming.
This guy is so hard to beat. And if this thing happens, he will come. And the entire movie is revolving around him sending mindless drones to find Eddie and hunt him down and free him from this prison. That's Chekhov's gun. That's Chekhov's gun to me. Yeah.
I mean, they're clearly setting it up. So, like, I thought in my head, they want Null to be a big bad, and they want to, to use wrestling terminology, they want to get him over.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Thanos. The first thing we really see him do is he beats the shit out of the Hulk. And right away, an audience is like, oh, this dude just fucked the Hulk up.
This is why the MCU is like, people can like shit on MCU fanboys. The MCU movies, the good ones, are fucking awesome. When Thanos comes in Infinity War and he beats the shit out of the Hulk and murders Loki, who is the main villain in the Avengers 2012.
Like 4 movies.
Yeah, and Avengers 2012,
Yeah.
the first time they got together. I'm like, that is how you handle a threat, is you demonstrate it to like the fullest degree.
Exactly.
It's why in every horror movie, you see the villain, the bad guy, demonstrate their power early on. And then later, when you're watching Laurie Strode try to get away from Michael Myers, it's because you know what he'll do to someone. He's
scary. It's the reason, to me, the new Star Wars trilogy failed, because Kylo Ren loses in the first movie and gets his ass kicked. He's not a threat. You need to get your main villain over.
Yeah.
Like Darth Vader, they protect him mostly. He never really loses until the third trilogy.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it's very simple shit. And it's like, to me, if you're building up Null as this world-conquering thing, and you need to get him over, and you're not going to do Venom anymore, I think the clear thing to do is have him come, and he's like you could have them win the day, but they didn't realize the Codex got stolen, and it gets to Null, and he shows up, or they get kidnapped and taken to Null, and he's opening a portal, and he's going to go to this Earth, and we can see it's the MCU. And he's like, okay, I got to stop this. There's only one thing I could do. And he does something which is going to delay Null but not stop him. And he sacrifices himself. And the symbiote's in the MCU. And it's like, okay, this makes sense.
Yes.
And we still get the emotional beat of self-sacrifice.
Yes.
And everything still works. And now you built this scary villain up. Instead, it's like, okay, so he lost. Venom's dead. He needs to wait for another Codex. How long is that going to be?
I also, even that, which if they had Null come over, what I don't like about this is now it's like, okay, so if you want to watch Spider-Man 4 in the MCU, you got to watch Venom 3 in the Sony movies to see the. I don't like that. Maybe if they really crossed over hard at the end, you could pull it off to be like, we're saying goodbye to the Venom trilogy, and while doing that, we're introducing this villain and pulling him over to make him the big bad of this. Maybe that still seems like a really hard sell to me. But that would be better, because what eventually happens in this movie is like Venom kills the xenophages. So this fucking big bad, the bad guy of the whole movie that you're waiting to see, ends in the same space that he started
He
as being
opens his eyes
imprisoned.
and looks at the camera. Played by Andy Serkis.
That's the craziest thing, is that they had Andy Serkis, who was like the king of mocap, right? And they had him like chained up in a thing for the entire movie, and it ends with him chained up in the thing, and that's it. And by the way, Andy Serkis directed Venom 2,
I forgot he did
which
that.
is fucking. This whole thing is bananas. What is going on
It's
over there?
weird.
It's all of it is like I can't look at the Venom the Sony verse of Venom, Morbius, Madam Web, Venom 2, Venom 3. And I can't make fucking heads or tails of what's going on in those rooms.
It's
those
just
writing
cheap
rooms.
cash grabs. That's really what it seems like. And here's the thing. I'm a sucker because I think Craven kind of looks cool.
Craven looks cool.
And
Rhino looks
and
fucking
I know,
awesome.
And I know, you know it's going to be fucking garbage. And you know they're tricking us.
Yeah. that's the popcorn. This is the ultimate.
But we got to see it.
This is the ultimate popcorn girl. This is our plight.
Yeah.
You know they're tricking us, and we're like waiting in line overnight to buy tickets. Like, that's what it is. You know they're tricking us, but we're gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, and I agree. Can I give a positive thought about Craven?
Yeah.
I feel like Madam Web and Morbius and Venom, they just kind of seem like a little bit more, hey, we're doing this dark comic book thing in a PG-13
Yes.
way. And I think that really cheapens it. There's a podcast, a video, I should say a YouTube series I like called Red Letter Media.
Yeah, I love Red Letter Media.
So they talked about the movie Imaginary this past year that Blumhouse made, which I enjoyed the the way they played out the story in Imaginary. But they were
harsh on it from what I remember.
yeah, they were pretty harsh, but it was more overall about how horror is the place that you go to give plot a back seat and focus on some fun filmmaking stuff when
Yeah.
it comes to kills and gore and different ways to play with it. Like we saw Substance. And Substance, I wouldn't even say the story takes a back seat, but it's a simplified story with a parable and like a very simple message. And then the mechanics of the horror are fucking awesome. And that's why the movie's great. Like imagine if they made Substance, but they wanted to make it PG-13.
Well, you couldn't do it.
Exactly. So Red Letter Media was talking about how Imaginary and all these Blumhouse movies that are pretty low concept, if you also make them toothless, they're there for no
nothing.
reason. So maybe by making Craven the Hunter rated R.
Is it R?
It's R.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'll let me double check before I go into this spiel.
That would be a big swing.
I think it is.
My thought with Craven 2, though, is that he's a character
Mhm.
where his origin story is interesting enough, and it's kind of almost has this weird honor to it where you can tell his story without making him a full good guy and have it be interesting. So, like, that's why I think this one does have a chance, because it's like he's a poacher, but he's also has some honor. I think it's interesting.
I that's what I was going to say. So it says the film will be the first Marvel movie from Sony to be released into theaters with an R rating with lots of bloody violence being promised.
Okay.
So the idea of taking Craven the Hunter and Rhino and being like, we're going to put them in a pretty violent superhero movie.
Chameleon's in it, too.
See, and like, this is taking place, like, it looks like it takes place in Africa or wherever the fuck. Like, and it really feels different than the Dark City, Resident Evil, Underworld type Morbius and
Yeah.
Venom movies. And so, I mean, what I would hope is they're like, listen, we're still going to try to do this bullshit of making Spider-Man villains have their own movies, but we're going to go in a really, really different direction than the past 5.
What if we tried to make him good?
Yeah. I know. I want to see. I also love that this is fucking Quicksilver that died in the MCU. That's
It's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, that's who Craven is.
Well, it's like Baron Mordo, because I think now that we're over that hump with Captain America
yeah.
and Chris Evans playing multiple roles, and they're like, yeah, sometimes they're just different people. And
Yeah,
whatever. It's like,
yeah.
all right, I guess.
Did you guys see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? That's what it
Yeah.
is. By the way, we were talking on Fun Bearable recently about Child's Play, and we were talking about
The reboot?
well, we were talking about how in Seed of Chucky, there's a
Is that
child's
the 4th one?
that's the 5th. So because Bride is 4.
Bride is 4, you're right. Okay.
So there's a Child's Play movie in it, which is a little bit weird if you think about it. They don't really go that far into it, but it's a little weird because like every movie is about how no one believes that there's a killer doll.
Yes.
And then it's so well known that there are killer dolls. Like why would they make a movie about
Well,
this thing that didn't happen?
What I thought is that and this is how my head always read it, that they're playing up on the urban legend about this
Sure.
doll. That's how I always took it.
Exactly. You're probably right, but it is a little strange.
Oh, and I mean, it looks exactly like fucking.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's the same voice, but so like,
By the way, that one I think is like the fucking worst Chucky movie. Like,
as
far as
the reboot's the worst one.
I'm talking about the mainline series.
It could be, yeah, it easily could be, but there's, I mean, you know that Quentin Tarantino was supposed to play Redman's character.
I know, I heard
which I
that.
think is fucking. Anyway,
That would have just been bananas.
that would have been crazy. But I was gonna say around that time, it was like, oh, in the Child's Play series, they're making a Child's Play movie. In Nightmare on Elm Street, they're making a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. In Scream, they're making the Stab movies. In Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they're making whatever movies, all the different ones, including a Jay and
Stereo
Silent Bob
movie where he's a director making a Sony movie.
well, that's the thing is I was thinking about the idea of like how many movies during that point in time between I guess 1997 and like 2005 are like we're making a movie about this movie that you're seeing right now. You know what I mean? It's very very
Scream
strange.
3.
Scream 3, yeah, of course. There's a ton. It's bizarre.
Well, it became a meta time period.
I think so. But I was thinking about Craven, and I do think it's possible that they're going in such a wildly different direction that it might be good in terms of like it's a fun, crazy action movie. It could be.
Look, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm hoping he's the next James Bond. So
Yeah. I
I
like him a lot.
I'm rooting for this to not flop.
Yeah.
So
He's kick-ass too, right?
Kick-Ass.
Yeah, he's great.
Quicksilver. Might be future James Bond. It's rumored he's the front runner. Did you see Bullet Train?
No.
Oh, he was awesome in that.
I got to see Bullet Train.
I think you would like that.
I got to see it. I want to see that movie. But I think Craven could be good. I like you. I do think it's such it feels like a different aesthetic. B, the fact that it's R-rated, I think it also gives it I'm more excited for it. But okay, so Venom ends. We never get Null. He does the thing where he looks at the camera at the end. They're essentially, I really think it's like Sony trying to copy Avengers 2012 when you see Thanos at the end.
Yeah, they're trying to build up to a Thanos.
But the thing is, they didn't introduce Thanos in the movie at the beginning, and then at the end, they show him and he's still in the same place. They completely hid that, and then it was like, oh, there's someone behind this. Like, if they had made Venom 3 and the xenophages were coming, and they were like, and it's like, well, what are these? And Venom's like, I hope it's not what I think it is.
Yeah.
And Eddie's like, well, what? And he's like, there's this guy Null, and we imprisoned him. He goes, but it could be anybody. Anyone could have sent the xenophages, or I hope it's not that. And the whole time they're fighting him. And then we do get the reveal that it's Null at the end. And I guess that could have worked. But why the fuck would you have him in the whole movie, same fucking room? Andy Serkis is playing him, and then he smiles at the camera. And they don't even try to bring it into the MCU by the end.
And here's the other problem with Null. We've established he can only be freed if a symbiote resurrects someone.
Yeah.
They killed the symbiote that has the codex. So he can't be freed.
It's everything about it. It was such a misfire storytelling wise. It's insane. And then the post-credit scenes are, well, the first one's Null. Second one is they have the bartender from the beginning
Who got arrested.
and he was like, it's a comedic beat, but then they show a cockroach walk up to a broken symbiote containment shell, let's call it. And I think I just took that to mean that maybe Venom's still alive.
That's what I took it.
Because during the movie, the doctor says a thing about, like, by the way, it's so shoehorned in. It's basically like one guy's like, hey, Terry, how you doing? And then Terry, I don't know the girl's name. Terry goes, the cockroaches, they live through the dinosaurs and they live longer than, and you're like, what the fuck? Why did she say this?
You were close on her name. Her
What?
name's Teddy.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got some memories. Yeah, it's fucking bananas by the end. So that's my feelings on Venom 3. I don't know if you have anything else to say you want to say about it.
I feel like we covered it. Like, it's not a good movie, but I enjoyed watching
Me
it.
too. I enjoyed the ride too.
If I was flipping through the channels, I wouldn't watch the whole thing, but I would click and see what scene.
Yeah.
And depending on the scene, I may watch that scene for like 5-10 minutes and then hit the channel.
That animal ending would have been fucking awesome.
It's such a layup.
Oh my god.
And it seems like they were so close to it and just didn't do it.
It's so weird. Yeah. Now that I put together that dog scene and the jumping scene and the end credits, it's like, why didn't this happen in the movie? Why would you think an audience wants to see a light blue symbiote instead of that?
Yeah. What if Venom different color?
And what if? And also, I think that I'm gonna guess that's
it's
one of Get Him several
8
phones. By the way, I like that it feels to the audience that we're recording in Get Him's bedroom.
Because we are.
Because we are. So I think here's what would have been cool. It would have been cool to see them, the symbiote, go on the animals and then have the symbiote talk out loud to Eddie Brock.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fucking awesome. All those moments.
Or like, yeah, Eddie, go do this thing while I distract him. Like we have to hit these different containment unit, whatever.
There's even a good comedy beat where he says something and like the doctor, like say Teddy is part of it, that girl, and she's like, you can talk, and he goes, someone else can hear me, like, and like someone else, you can finally talk to somebody else. That would be so funny. That'd be really funny.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because he never does. But anyway. Yeah, so I'm pretty good on Venom. I don't know.
I got one other thing that just popped in my head. So Venom jumps into a gorilla, right?
Yeah.
And it's like Venom gorilla. It looks sick. And there's some other animal over there that needs help. And Venom reaches into his ass and throws poop. But it's the symbiote.
The symbiote is
yeah. And it grabs onto someone and takes it over.
That is funny. That's a good moment. Hey, I'm behind that 100%. It's weird because they've been selling Venomized figures and toys and stuff for years and years and years. I don't know. Is there a Spider-Man cartoon that has Venomized stuff in it?
Probably one. I mean, I've watched almost every modern Spider-Man cartoon, and I know that the last show they had a whole like Venom season.
Oh, really?
But I don't remember them doing like, Venomize this and Venomize that.
I have like pop vinyl figures of like Venomized Iron Man or War Machine and Venomized Captain America and Hulk and everything. So it's
I think that stems from
just the comics.
I think they did. I think that may have happened in King in Black.
I'm sure.
Because like the symbiotes were taking over everybody, and
I'm sure. I mean, do you know what they're doing right now in Marvel? Zombiotes. Marvel Zombiotes.
I haven't heard about Zombiotes.
Really? Yeah.
No.
They're combining Marvel Zombies with symbiotes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't read it yet. I would check it out. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but yeah. No, it's very strange.
Aren't zombies and symbiotes both enough? I guess,
well, I guess symbiotes are way stronger. I guess I don't know.
We're really gonna fuck up your day now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So
Spider-Man 4.
Spider-Man 4. So this is kind of. I think I hit you up maybe 6 weeks ago. I was walking around at night. I do a lot of late night walks, and I was in Rhode Island, and I was thinking about this, and I was just working it out in my head. And I texted you, and I was like, "Oh, I sent you voice notes. Remember?
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't want to type all this out. And I was like, I just have an idea, and I wanted to run it by you. So we loosely were like, what if we talked about Spider-Man 4? I figured it's appropriate now because Spider-Man 4 is going to come out. Tom Holland is signed on.
Yeah, it's like official now.
It's official.
You said it on Fallon.
So did you hear about the leak?
You told me, and I've already forgotten it.
So this is the rumored. I mean, the plot synopsis is extremely vague. It's that Peter Parker gives up on being Spider-Man.
Hate it.
And an unlikely ally makes him pick it up again and have to defeat a big evil.
Daredevil, I guess.
Okay. Well, but then here's the cast list they released. And again, this is just rumored, so it could be like some idiot on Reddit making it up.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr. Now, here's my thought that does make sense about this. As much as I think No Way Home was like incredible with Toby and Andrew and Tom Holland together, I do think Toby is the biggest deal. So if they did, like, there's been a lot of rumors since No Way Home came out that Sony is like, do it again, Toby and Andrew.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know about this, but during the marketing, Sony was pressuring Marvel to put Toby and Andrew in the trailers.
Yeah.
And they didn't, and the compromise was to put in Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin.
Well, that's why they did like right after like week 2. They were like all over the fucking trailers.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think if you do think about that from a logistics standpoint, being like, we want to save this kind of thing for Secret Wars, fine. Andrew Garfield can come back, but we're saving Toby. That does make sense to me.
It does. I mean, if they're doing that. I think they have a big problem, though, as far as making Spider-Man 4.
Because of the
stakes issue that they've set up for themselves, which is why I went in a different direction with because we both came up with a Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I came up with 2 Spider-Man 4s.
Okay.
Almost 3.
Spider-Man 8.
Yeah. But it's like, I think it's a weird situation where like, especially the way the last movie ended, because every movie with Tom Holland, they end it where it's almost like now he's really Spider-Man. And the last one, they ended it where it's like, okay, we had the great power, great responsibility thing. We turned this into a 3-movie origin. He's not Kid Iron Man anymore. He's finally Spider-Man. Okay, I'm down with this. And then if they undo that to start this movie after like those cool shots in the last one, I'll be really disappointed, honestly.
What do you mean by undo it?
So it's like at the end of the last movie, it's like he's made his own suit. He has his own web shooters, right? I'm sorry, something's fucking driving me nuts. Do I have like a hair or something?
I don't see one, but
yeah, it's like in my peripheral vision and it's like torturing me. Okay. But it's like, so at the end of the last one, he's finally Spider-Man.
yeah.
He has his own suit. He has his own web shooters. He's his own man, right? And they set it up. He's swinging off into the distance. I am Spider-Man. If they start the next movie without scrapping that, and I have to see another person fucking mentor Peter, it's like, how many times do I have to see this kid mentored?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
I hear you.
let him be Spider-Man. It's like,
I agree.
and like, I get that they probably feel like they need bigger stakes, which is why I think the symbiote would have been an interesting way to go with that. But it's like, I just want to see him be Spider-Man without someone teaching him. You know, I
think that my actual prediction for Spider-Man 4 is that he will be, because it's going to come out right after Doomsday. You know that.
I didn't know the timetable, but okay.
It comes out right after Doomsday. I think it's going to be him wrestling with his relationship with Tony Stark, but I don't think it's going to be a mentor thing. I think he's going to be wrestling with the morals of
trying to stop him.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to be directly trying to stop him because I bet that he'll be too powerful. I'm going to have to imagine that the Doctor Doom storyline is going to begin in Fantastic Four, and then Doomsday is going to be the main thing where they set up a lot of stakes.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Infinity War of the next chapter. Spider-Man's going to be in between, and then Secret Wars is going to be the big final Doom story. I think that what's going to happen is it's just going to there's going to be a moment in Doomsday where Tom Holland comes face to face with Robert Downey Jr. again, and he realizes that his mentor is evil now, and it's like an incredibly difficult time. Like I said, I want the first scene of Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. back, is him killing Happy Hogan. That's what I want.
Yeah, you want to get him over.
Same thing that we were just talking about. That's what I want. But I think that whatever happens in Doomsday, Spider-Man is going to be wrestling with his relationship and how can he, maybe it's even how can he trust anybody? If Iron Man can become this, then how can he do this? I think it's going to be him wrestling with that. And I also agree. I don't think he needs a mentor. But yeah, so do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I have 2.
Rupert's Spider-Man 4 pitches.
Yeah. All right. So, hold on. Let me pull it up. So my first one, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4, which is what I want.
This is what inspired me, is because I know that after No Way Home, you were like, they got to make Spider-Man 4, just the straight up Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 sequel to 3. And I was like, you're a fucking lunatic. And that's why I came up with mine, which I'll get to.
It's all I want. I want Tobey.
I know it probably will never happen. Now, I did hear plans for the original Spider-Man 4, and I'm almost glad it didn't happen because I would have been infuriated. But this is mine, all right? So Tobey Maguire is now older and working for the Daily Bugle. Him and MJ are married with a daughter who is like 5 years old, May Parker. Inside their house on Staten Island. That's right. I moved the Parkers to Staten Island if I'm writing fan fiction. Yep.
And it also makes sense because I imagine it's a little more expensive. They're a family. They're settled down.
Yeah, they want a yard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I put them there. And in their house, we see like all the cover photos that Peter has like taken over the years of Spider-Man. And we see a bunch of C and like B tier villains that Peter Parker Spider-Man has faced that we never saw the adventures.
Sure.
So it's like him versus like Will-o'-the-Wisp or, you
Morbius.
know, Jackal, like all these shit villains, right?
Yeah.
Stiltman, and like just different covers that like, obviously it's like Peter's wins, but it looks like they're just his photos.
How about this? Let's say that they're newspaper, they're from the newspaper.
Yeah.
What if they could hearken specific comic book covers?
The next line is their homage to classic covers. Because why not, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I put Peter is struggling to maintain his job in a dying industry, right? And he's also balancing Spider-Man and fatherhood, and he's kind of in a rut.
Yeah.
A new villain emerges, Black Cat. and she's really sexy and flirty with Peter.
Oof. Who's playing her? Sydney Sweeney. No, she's too old.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Well, because the rumor is that she's going to continue as Black Cat.
Oh, I'm so there for that. I actually wrote kind of.
Is she Black Cat in the? No, she's Spider Woman or something.
She's
She's something in Madam Web. The rumor is that they're going to keep her. Maybe it was for Spider Woman. The one that's all black and has the white like Venom. Honestly,
yeah,
that's the one I think she is.
That's Spider Woman.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's 4 Spider.
There's a bunch. Yeah,
I don't
Spider
know.
Girl and all these different variants.
Okay, so Black Cat. We're talking someone who's like 45.
I'm just gonna pick a random hot chesty actress. I'll say Monica Bellucci. She might be a little too old, but she's still good looking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'll just say
okay.
her. You know, if I had my binder full of women like Mitt Romney, I could pour through it in. Political joke from 2012.
Hold on, reach under one and get him his pillows. See what he's got under there.
So she's really flirty with him. And
Heather Graham.
Heather Graham. There you go.
That's fun. That's an interesting one. Okay, Heather Graham.
She's fun too. I like that.
Oh, she's the best. She's the coolest.
So it sparks something in Peter, and he starts to feel alive again. And chasing Black Cat is kind of reinvigorating him. And the movie is almost a metaphor for a midlife crisis because all the Spider-Man movies, the Tobey one specifically, they're all metaphors for something. So this one is him dealing with his midlife crisis and like the new hot chick that's kind of tempting him to go with her.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
that's good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Craven is on the scene. He has trained for years to be the one to take down Spider-Man. Will he be the one to do it? So he's the main villain.
Okay.
And Black Cat is kind of like the thing driving Peter.
Yeah.
And he's almost going to have a choice at the end. I didn't flesh it out beyond that, really.
Yeah.
I just kind of put the elements in place that would be fun for me.
That's fun. I like that a lot. And it's funny because I'd like to think of like, because it's going to be, should there be a metaphor about, how about this, ready? And it doesn't have to be talked about exactly in the movie. Could there be a metaphor about how one of the reasons that he doesn't do it anymore is because there are newer, younger guys that are taking over? Because that way it's a metaphor for acknowledging the Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU.
That's fun too. He doesn't feel as obligated.
Yeah.
And then the Black Cat thing kind of gets him going.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could have Miles Morales, but in the comics, is he always linked to Peter Parker, or could he be completely separate? He doesn't even know him.
He's always linked to him.
He's always linked to him. So is there another younger hero that could come up later that's like basically he's in New York, he's taking things over, and Peter Parker feels a little bit more comfortable not being part of it?
Could do that with Craven and make that kind of Craven shtick where he's like,
he's a good guy?
I'm better. Well, he's like an anti-hero. It's like, look, I'm better than you now. You're older. You know, you're not even worthy of being hunted.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, all right, and he hangs it up. But then one day he sees Black Cat. And it kind of gets him going.
Or Daredevil. I mean, I know that in traditionally in the comics, Daredevil's older than Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But something like that. Something like that I think would be cool. Of him being like, I don't need to be part of this world anymore, to acknowledge for the audience that Tobey Maguire has stepped aside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then he comes back and, you get the heroic moment at the end. But that's kind of just where I was going with it, where I thought would be fun to because I was like, what issues would a 45-year-old Peter Parker have? You know, that like...
Can I give you a cool idea too?
Yeah.
So the whole story happens. Everything... By the end, obviously, we're reset. Everything's fine. Post-credit scene. He's in his house. He's washing dishes. He's happy that everything is behind him. And his wife is like going to bed. She's like, you know, like this was a real weird thing for us. Like we can't go through something like this again. He's like, I get it, whatever. And he goes in his kitchen and he's washing dishes. And then all of a sudden, the portal opens up and he gets pulled into No Way Home.
That's fun. I like that.
That would be awesome, right?
That's cool. I like that.
That would be fun because it doesn't matter. That could happen anytime.
Yeah,
you know?
set that. Yeah,
That'd
I
be
like
cool.
that.
That's cool.
So that was my Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4 pitch, which is very loose. And this is my Tom Holland Spider-Man 4. And I have kind of 2 alternate takes. All right. Tom Holland is in college and struggling to make it. Basically only getting by on the kindness of strangers that are giving Spider-Man food after saving them. So it's like he saves a guy and the guy's like, how can I thank you? He's like, you know, could you get me like a hot dog? You know, and it's like he's kind of just getting by on that. He's dirt poor.
Yeah.
He's struggling. He's the new webmaster for the Daily Bugle while in college. You like that?
You're such a homo.
You like that, right? Webmaster?
I do like it, yeah. So, oh, okay, good.
He has developed their algorithm, which has allowed them to become the #1 source for clickbait news.
Okay.
So he still works at the Daily Bugle,
Yeah.
but he's not a photographer. He's their webmaster, and he like tweaks their algorithm so they do well in clickbait.
Yeah.
While he's in college, there's this new.
Can we make 1,000,000 Spider-Man puns like the clip bait,
bait.
the fly?
That's good. I like that.
Stupid.
Peter's in college with his new hot chick, Gwen Stacy.
Right.
He still thinks about MJ, but it's time for them to move on. He realizes him and Gwen have chemistry, and he's into her. He has only one friend, his college roommate, Harry Osborn. But he can't really trust Harry's dad. He gives Pete a bad feeling.
Yeah.
And the audience knows why, and Pete knows why.
Yeah.
But you're uneasy about it.
Well, are we going with is this after No Way Home, or are we ignoring
This
that?
is No Way Home. It's happened.
Okay, so he knows about Norman Osborn.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
So
Okay. So he knows about it too.
he knows about this too.
Oh, you know what can I just throw a little idea?
Yeah.
What if he's like Norman Osborn? Our versions of I know what Norman Osborn is, and the guy's just the nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
So there's two villains in this movie. One is Chameleon impersonating Spider-Man committing crimes, driving up public hate against Spider-Man. So he's even more isolated and alone.
Yep.
Right? He really is feeling it. Meanwhile, while Spider-Man's name is being sullied and the cops are turning against him, Green Goblin is in the middle of a gang war with Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin.
Okay.
So I kept it very street level.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's cool.
So he's like Green Goblin. It's fucking Norman.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like where this is going. I already get it.
And he goes and he's like, fucking you motherfucker. He's like in the house. He's like, you fucking are at this shit again. It's not Norman after like he beats him. And this time the pictures are real of him attacking Norman. And it's everywhere. And he's like, motherfucker. Eventually he realizes and he puts it together that Chameleon, who is being paid, and he stops Chameleon, right? And Chameleon gives it up that he's paid by this guy. Spider-Man impersonates Chameleon and meets up with the Goblin. And he fights the Goblin, and it turns out it's Harry.
Oh, that's
his
cool.
fucking roommate.
That's cool.
And Harry is the Goblin in this universe.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And it's still linked together. And he obviously stops him. And that's kind of my little Spider-Man 4. Where I kept it very small.
I like that. Can I give you a slight alternate?
Yeah.
What if, Kingpin is the bad guy, right? Same exact setup, but Kingpin is the main bad guy. He's doing stuff, and then there keeps maybe all his low-level crime guys, they get either ambushed or they get the crime happens before they get there, and there's always a Goblin calling card. Goblin.
It's taken, right?
Right, and it's Goblin. And Spider-Man's like the Goblin, and he meets Harry Osborn. He's like, I know it's him. Same exact thing. He fights him, and at the end, or at the beginning of the third act or going into it, there's something happens that proves it's not him, and he's like, who is the Goblin? And you finally see the Goblin, and it's the Hobgoblin.
That's fun.
You know what I mean? And also, could it be Ned? I mean, it's really tough to bring that fat Chinese kid in.
So in mine, I made great efforts.
Yeah.
I want them gone from this movie because I know they're going to be in it. And I think it's I wrote what I think will happen too and what the real Spider-Man 4 will be. But I think it's such a mistake to bring back MJ and Ned after the last movie. And I get the temptation because you're like,
this is the cast of these
because
movies.
it's the cast of these movies and the last one was a hit. But I think if you want that moment of Spider-Man sacrificing and giving them up and giving everyone up to mean something, you need to give it a movie. You need to give it a movie to breathe. Obviously, I know they'll come back, but I really think it would do the character justice to grow a little bit without them. And then if she remembers him in the next movie and he has a relationship with Gwen, now you have an instant love triangle and you've built something. You know what I mean? It's like...
I agree. It's funny because I'm not sure what they're going to do. I'll tell you, in the comics, the same thing happened where he lost everybody, right? And no one knew who he was.
Not exactly.
What happened? So in Secret Wars, no, it was in Civil War, everyone found out who he was, and then he made a deal with someone for them
All
all
right.
to forget.
So Peter Parker married Mary Jane in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, they were together for so long. They tried to kill Mary Jane off. They tried a million different ways to end the marriage. Joe Quesada, the editor of Marvel, hated it. He came up with the most controversial storyline, definitely in Spider-Man comics, maybe all of modern comics, where after Civil War, Peter reveals his identity. Wilson Fisk has someone take a shot at Peter trying to assassinate him. He gets out of the way. Aunt May gets hit.
Mm-hmm.
Peter dons the black suit, kicks everyone's ass. It's great. Eventually, he's trying to save Aunt May's life. He can't do it. No, Peter, Reed, Doctor Strange, nobody is able to do it. The only person that can is Mephisto.
Yeah.
And Peter Parker sells a part of his soul and MJ's soul to Mephisto.
Where she doesn't remember. Or their marriage has never happened.
Their marriage had never happened, and
Yeah.
things are a little different.
Yes. But everyone forgets who he is, too.
Everyone forgot he was Spider-Man. So it's a full reset of almost everything. So, like, it brings Harry Osborn back, and it brings back everything basically from the date that that MJ and Peter would have been married. So everything that happens after, it's like a reset, like none of that happened.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what happens after that, though? So everyone forgets who he is.
And they tell a whole bunch of new Spider-Man stories. It's called,
really?
It's called Brand New Day.
Right, Brand New
And
Day.
they
Which is what this is called, by the way. Spider-Man 4 is called Brand New Day.
Really?
I believe so. I believe that's confirmed.
Okay. So, I mean, if
Maybe it's just a leak, but I thought that was the case.
if they're doing Brand New Day, I mean, you could take it in a million different directions.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my thing.
Yeah. Okay. So in the comics also, after everyone forgets, I believe Hulk remembers.
Well, eventually people start finding out he's Peter Parker.
I think
again,
Hulk
you know?
remembers though. And
Really?
Spider-Man's like, how do you know who I am? And he's like, Bruce Banner doesn't remember, but Hulk remembers.
Okay.
That's a scene in one of the comics. Yeah. So, because the thing is, it's really hard to tell the next story if no one knows who he is. I guess you just do the thing where it's like they're friends with Peter Parker. I don't know.
Well, that's why mine was like he's in college. Gwen Stacy's his love interest.
Yeah, she's a new person.
Harry's is they're new people, and
Yeah.
you build a new cast around him.
The one problem, I mean, I think No Way Home is like, I think No Way Home will be looked at as the best version of bringing characters together from different universes for a multiverse thing. I
You think
it,
more than Deadpool Wolverine
yeah, because Deadpool Wolverine was more of like a lark.
cameo.
It was
yeah.
like so whimsical, and it was like the comedy character that breaks the fourth wall, I think. I mean, Deadpool Wolverine is up there for sure. It's just a different version of it. I think Spider-Man represents, we know that there are 3 big movie series, and we're going to put them together. We're going to give that a reason. Deadpool is more like, I mean, one of the things in Deadpool that I find a little bit strange that we've talked about is the fact that they're just like, we want you in the MCU.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, they know about the MCU?
I
The
know,
sacred
it's-
timeline. And it's like, and Deadpool knows what that is. And he's like, I'm finally going to be with Captain America and Thor. And it's like, so he knows about all this stuff. Weird. And so there's a little bit of like, it's not really 100% canon. It's
Yeah.
almost like Deadpool rises above that to see
it's
everything.
his own comedy thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little different.
But No Way Home, what I like though is that it really is all just about the character of Peter Parker.
Well, what I was going to say is the one thing that No Way Home fucks up is the idea of bringing the Green Goblin proper into the Tom Holland universe as opposed to just bringing back Willem Dafoe from the Tobey Maguire movies. Because now, you brought up the thing about him coming in. It's like no matter what, if he meets an Osborn, his cackles are right. I mean, he's like, what the fuck? But what I was going to say is, so it has that issue. And I guess you're right. If he's just Peter Parker in college and he has new friends, he can
exactly.
do that, that's
you can
good.
build a whole new thing.
Yeah.
And then like what I like is in 5, you could bring those characters back, and now you have new drama where it's like Ned or in mine Harry's bad, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. But now you have Ned and Harry don't like each other, and MJ. It's like you could do things. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But and here's what I think will happen.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking like the studio where I'm like, okay, we need a big ending. We need big stakes, huge end of the world shit. because mine is such a small scale. When was the last time you saw a superhero movie with stakes that low?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So mine is very much like a 20-year-old throwback.
Yeah.
But here's what I think will happen. Either Null, which I don't think they'll do now, or Morlun. Do you know who Morlun is? So Morlun is a Spider-Man villain who came around in like the early 2000s, who he's an interdimensional being who travels the multiverse, feeding on the energy, like the life force of characters that are blessed with the spider totem. So he goes from multiverse to multiverse, hunting down characters.
Yeah, the spider killers. I did read this storyline. Yeah.
There's a whole group of them. Morlun was the first one, and then they gave him a whole family.
Yeah.
I think that they'll make him be a big bad, and some sort of thing will happen, a cataclysmic event, and Peter will need help from one other Spider-Man minimum.
Yeah.
And at some point, he will be forced to go to Ned and MJ for help. Maybe via time travel, or because he's like the only people I know that like I can trust or know this technology are Ned and MJ, and he goes to MIT and like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And he has to show them he's Spider-Man and like try to explain things and win them over. And they're gonna immediately erase the end of No Way Home. And I think Pete will stop the bad guy somehow, and Secret Wars will be hinted at. That was my loose.
Yeah.
What I think will happen.
That's good. I like that. I think that's fun. I mean, I think that's exactly. They're eventually going to have to go to a place where he explains it to them, right? Unless they do a thing where they reverse it, which is really weird for me.
Well,
to see
you're saying this takes place after which movie?
Doomsday.
So if they're doing Doom World, and things are reset in a certain way,
yeah, exactly.
He may not have to.
I honestly think they're going to build up to Secret Wars and Spider-Man gets the black suit.
I think they want to do that.
I think so. I think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be 3 more Spider-Man movies on top of the team.
Well, they said they're doing, I think, 6.
New trilogy. Yeah.
So I think by the end of 6, I definitely think Tom Holland will be gone, and he's going to pass it to Miles. That's what
I think so too. By the way, have you read the storyline Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine? It's basically just a time travel story of Spider-Man and Wolverine together, and they get thrown into each other's origin stories, and Wolverine is the wrestler he has to face.
Oh, really? That's fun.
It's fucking real good.
No, I never read that one.
It's great.
When is that from?
Probably 2009, 2010. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised I missed that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, here's my pitch.
All right.
So this was inspired by the fact that you, after No Way Home, you're like, Raimi, Toby, Spider-Man 4. And I'm like, you're a lunatic. And the reason you're a lunatic is because the marketing would be just so bizarre to try to explain to the average person that you're seeing the 4th Spider-Man movie. And yes, there have been 3 MCU Spider-Man movies, but this is not a 4th movie in that series. It's a 4th movie that's a sequel to a movie that came out 20 years ago.
I think you could explain it to the audience. If you're like Spider-Man 4, the original hero's back, and like you're showing Toby, I think people would obviously understand.
I think people would go to the movie and people would still be like, what the fuck? Where's Tom Holland? I still, regardless. It's weird because like marketing, like it's people that went to the Joker and didn't know it was a musical. It's people that brought their kids to Deadpool and couldn't believe he swore. You know what I mean? It's like people are so dumb. It's crazy.
But you know, it's weird because like they just re-released every Spider-Man movie this year.
Yeah.
I went to all 3 of the Tobey movies. Every theater was fucking packed, man. It was sold out.
No, I hear you. But those are they were what, for like one day? You know what I mean?
It was one day things, but I mean they made money.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think my personal opinion is it would be too hard. That's the basis of mine. So here's
Do you think it could be like a limited series on like?
Yes, but when you hear what I'm going to say, I think you'll see how it works. My idea is Disney and Marvel recognizing the Rupperts of the world and saying there's some people that want a Spider-Man 4 now that Tobey is back. We can't do that because of the marketing issues. It doesn't make any sense. And also, here's the other problem. What if they want to make a Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland after that?
Oh, I think they should.
I know, but I'm just saying it's like what the fuck? There's 2 Spider-Man 4s that just
came out. And I think
out.
you could give us Spider-Man 3. I think you could put out a Spider-Man movie every fucking year.
I think they should I think they should sign a contract where like we're going to put the numbers in every one. So it's Spider-Man 4, and then Spider-Man 3, and it's 3 different heroes.
4-3-4.
4-3-4. So my idea was this. they're like, oh, people are clamoring for this. Tom Holland Spider-Man right now is in a world where he's poor. He has no family. He has no friends.
Yep.
Nobody knows him. No one knows anything. He's in his apartment, opens. He's in that shitty apartment that we see at the end of the thing. Maybe he's doing he's helping low-level crime again. He's doing all that stuff again. He's having a really hard time. He's really lonely. Maybe we show him being lonely.
That's what I want.
Not knowing everybody, right? So Tom Holland is bummed out. He's in his room, slingering.
Right away?
Well, after we established that
yeah.
he's just fucking depressed. And he's like, I was in love with this girl. I had a best friend. I had a whole life. My Aunt May, all these different people. He's like, Mr. Stark is gone. Aunt May is gone. Happy. All these people are gone, right? Sling ring. Tobey Maguire comes to the sling ring, and he's like, I'm so sorry to bother you. He's like, I'm sure you have so much stuff going on right now. And Tom Holland is like, not really. And Tobey Maguire is like, I got stuff going on that I can't handle alone, and I don't know who else to go to. He's like, I've never met anyone else to team up with. He's like, all these years, and he could say, he's like, when I was facing Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He's like, I never had anyone that I could actually work with, and I need someone. I'm getting older. Maybe they could even acknowledge a little bit of this, the difference between
You're
them.
smart. You're good with technology.
Yeah. And he's like, when we faced off against the Sinister Five in No Way Home, he's like, that was the first time I felt like I actually had a person that could help me, and I'm having something going on, and I need you to come with me to my universe and help me solve this issue. So we do a Raimi Tobey Spider-Man 4. The whole movie, it takes place in that universe, but Tom Holland is with him the entire time.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So it's a Spider-Man 4 for both series in the same movie.
I love it.
You know what I mean?
I think that's fun.
That's a way to get away with it. And you can put the Tom Holland story issues on a shelf.
Yeah.
And he's just in this world.
And he has a full adventure where he learns, and yeah.
And I mean, you could even if you wanted to, if we did say man, he's done a lot of mentor stuff. What if Tom Holland was helping Tobey Maguire get back into it?
Yeah.
And he's mentoring Tobey. You do that kind of stuff. You have him. And
who's your villain? What is the reason?
So that's the thing is I don't have what it could be. And I was thinking about what?
Moreland?
Well, I was thinking about the idea of you mentioned Black Cat. We talked about Kingpin, all these different things. It's as long as we keep Goblin, Octopus, and Venom and Sandman off the table. I mean, you got Kraven the Hunter. You have Rhino in that world.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people to play with. And then there's the question
Mr.
of
Negative.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of new people. You could even have Tom Holland in the movie, and this would be great for the MCU stuff. Maybe fall in love with Gwen Stacy there, right? And Gwen Stacy is Toby's married to Mary Jane. And maybe he's wrestling with the idea of do I even ever want to go back? Do I want to go back to my old world?
Yeah.
He's like, here, I'm a new person. I met you, blah, blah, blah. He's like, there's no one waiting for me. No one needs me back there.
Yeah, what the hell am I?
He's like, the world has the Avengers. They don't need me, all this stuff. And so you could kind of tease the audience that we're saying goodbye to Tom Holland as well, and that he's not going to be part of the Avengers anymore.
Yeah.
Which is awesome in terms of a reason. And yeah, I didn't come up with the actual story. I mean, you can come up. We could even use your Spider-Man 4 pitch, your first one.
Yeah,
with Toby.
exactly. It works.
You could use the exact same thing. And I would at the end, if he does get pulled back into the MCU by something really specific, where it is maybe the Doctor Doom. I mean, it's
or
weird.
Doom World something.
Something where it's no, they do need him for something.
It's a desperate act from Doctor Strange. He's like, kid, we were looking for you. We needed you.
Yeah.
Everyone is dead. Where were you? Yeah. Why did you leave?
Well, it's funny too because I don't know the mechanics of this memory spell that erases Peter Parker from people's memories.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know the mechanics of that, but I'm sure. I mean, like I said, in the comics, the Hulk knew for some reason, and I'm sure that they could do something where it's maybe Doctor Strange became.
Is that before or after the Scarlet Witch movie? It's before, right?
Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange 2?
Yeah.
It's before.
Okay.
Maybe Doctor Strange. This is just me spitballing.
Yeah.
maybe he starts being like, there was something wrong with every time I thought about any big battle that we had, something was missing. He started becoming suspicious, and he did something on himself to remember who he is.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
There's one person the spell didn't work on because he breaks the fourth wall. Deadpool.
Oh,
he knows,
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
right? He's
Yeah.
like, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, of course I know.
Yeah,
I've done the multiverse shit.
Yeah.
It's not my first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Something where at the end he does get pulled in for a specific reason. It could set up the next
Yeah.
thing. But I love the idea of actually saying Spider-Man 4, and like I want the font to be the Spider-Man from the Tobey
Yeah.
thing. I want all the marketing to be harkening back to the Tobey one with him and Tom Holland
Yeah, the
together,
classic
and
font.
the whole thing takes place in that world.
I would love that.
And maybe you even have Osborn, Octopus, Sandman, and they're okay because it's after No Way Home. Maybe
Well-
they're okay now.
Well, they're in different universes where they're okay. They're separate timelines.
Are they? Is Green Goblin doesn't go back and be okay now?
So what happens is, so think of this. Toby's 40, let's say 45, right?
Yeah.
So Toby's 45. He's had all those past adventures. When those guys go back, they create separate timelines where the events of those movies are different.
Really?
So like instead of it also is when they know he's Peter Parker.
It's weird.
And by the way, Lizard never fucking knew, which is a whole nother
I know.
problem.
It's weird though because in the movie, the whole crux of Tom Holland's Peter Parker in No Way Home is that when we send them back, they're gonna go get killed by Tobey Maguire.
Well, they're gonna be cured. If they're not cured, so
They never say if they're not cured. He just says if
No.
they go back.
So if they cure them, right? So it's the moment they go back to the moment they found out Peter Parker Spider-Man.
I don't know if that's established.
No, they say that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I gotta disagree.
No, because then they won't die because they know they're not villainous anymore. They're cured. So it's like so basically Norman goes back to that Thanksgiving scene, right? Because that's when he finds out.
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I swear, in the movie, I don't know if they established that.
That's how I took it because that's the only thing that makes sense because otherwise because 45-year-old Tobey Maguire,
Yeah.
his whole timeline and world would change. So it has to be branch realities of some kind.
I mean, I don't think they established that in the movie. I understand your thing, but it's like in the movie, all they establish is they were about to die. They came into this universe, and when they send them back, they're going to die. And Tom Holland was like, Doctor Strange, when we send them back, they will die. And Doctor Strange says that's their fate. That's what has to
because
happen.
that's what happens in those movies.
Yeah.
That's how those stories play out. But by curing them, it's a different outcome, and now they're not going to die because they're not going to die fighting Spider-Man. That's how I took it.
You're saying that this kind of retcons.
Exactly. So it's like Green Goblin, right?
But Green Goblin still knows it's Peter Parker.
But he's cured of the
I
goblin
see what you're
shit.
saying.
So he has no reason to fight him. Doc Ock is cured of that
the
chip.
This is I don't know if I could swallow this. I understand your viewpoint.
That's how I always took it. That
Interesting.
they're creating branch realities where these characters aren't going to die.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess I don't think they address it directly, but maybe you're right.
And here's the thing, Norman and Doc would be in two separate realities because in order for Doc to be cured, the events of Spider-Man 1 still need to happen as is.
Yeah.
So it's like Norman still needs to die from the glider and Harry's driven by revenge and all that. So that still would need to happen in Doc's reality.
Yeah.
But once he's cured, it's
it's a little weird.
it's different branch reality shit. That's how I've always taken it.
Yeah. Weird. Interesting. Well,
Multiverse shit.
multiverse. But yeah, so maybe, maybe they're okay, right? In my world.
Oh yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
If they're, I'm going to be a canon nerd right now. If they're in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man world, they can't be alive.
So he's going back to a world where all that shit happened. You
Yes,
think at the end of the movie,
exactly.
and they all go to different universes?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, that's not really an important part of my thing. It's like the idea that
Yeah.
they're okay. But I'm just saying. But that was my whole pitch was that basically we're going to do the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. And I think we're set up perfectly to do that because Tom Holland doesn't have a life at all.
Yeah.
So it's perfect to throw him in a different place.
To
Like,
go
why wouldn't he
somewhere
go?
else.
Why wouldn't he do
And
that?
he's like, why would I want to go back? This
Exactly.
is so much better. Yeah, I think that's a fun story.
So that's my idea. That would have been kind of cool. That where you get to play in that world a little bit more in a very different way than No Way Home. It's a very different thing than Tom Holland needs help in the MCU, and so here's Tobey Maguire. To flip that, I think would be really, really cool, and you'd get a lot of people to go see it, and a lot of people would be really psyched to return to that world.
And we get one last full Toby adventure.
Exactly, and you're also not like you're keeping Tom Holland around, so whoever cares about Tom Holland and wants to go see it is seeing him as a protagonist in this movie, and you're not really eating up a Spider-Man story. You're doing this weird multiverse crossover thing that I think would be really cool.
I'd be there for that.
Yeah,
Look, I
be
mean, you
fun.
put Spider-Man in it, I'm fucking there.
Yeah.
So.
And then my last idea, which is shifting gears a little bit, and I have to mention these to you. I'm just wanted to mention this, is like I know that they're gonna start doing the X-Men stuff, and it's weird because it's like, all right, they did the X-Men 1 through 3, then they kind of rebooted with First Class, then they decided to combine them into one thing, and then they made Deadpool and Logan, and then they made Deadpool and Wolverine. So they kind of have a lot of
different universes,
different stuff going on, and a lot of X-Men stuff that kind of, I would say, feels somewhat similar from X-Men 1 through like X-Men Apocalypse or something. And if they're like, well, we don't want to just start over again and be like, here's our big metal X in this door, and here's this, and we don't want to do that again. I think they should take the X-Men and just do a Savage Land series where it's that dinosaur land. And I think that they should introduce someone who's maybe not an A-lister, maybe not like Wolverine or whatever. And they should start there with the adventures beginning in Savage Land, because I think that, I mean, I know they're going to make a new Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park is the only dinosaur like AAA, series that they've ever made. There's only been 6 Jurassic Park movies in 30 years. I mean, now they're going to make another one, but I think if Marvel started being like, no, we're going to have a dinosaur series too, and that's where our X-Men are going to mostly live, that would be fucking such a cool way to differentiate them from everything else.
Do you know about the Krakoa storyline that they just did?
No.
So basically, because they've almost sidelined the X-Men for years, and they did this big event in the comic books where the X-Men for years lived in this other dimension, all the mutants, called Krakoa.
Yeah.
And that's where all the mutants live, and they have all their mutant problems because they wanted to get away from humans and shit like that. It's like another dimension. They just ended it and brought them back to the real world. But I think that's a good way to introduce them into the MCU, where it's like, oh, mutants have always been here. You guys just forgot, and we've been in this pocket dimension.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
You know?
That's pretty good.
But I think you could almost make that a Savage Land. You could just have a part of Krakoa is the Savage Land.
Yeah, something like that. No, I think that'd be fun. I think that's cool. That's good. It's funny. They stopped doing X-Men comics because they didn't want to help Fox, right?
They killed off Fantastic. Disney did. It was a really shrewd move. They stopped putting out Fantastic Four, the oldest Marvel book, X-Men, and I think there was another casualty. They basically stopped putting those books out.
Yeah.
You know? And then
crazy.
when they got the rights back, they were like, guess who's back?
Yeah, right. I know.
It was like, come on, man. Like, fucking your fans like this shit. It's like,
I know. They do have such a never-ending series of like 13 books a month, though. So it's like, I mean, I guess if they're just like, we're just going to take the X-Men off and the Fantastic Four off the roster for a couple of years, I guess, it's like they have a lot of people to fill the time, and then they can go back to it.
I like the X-Men, but I always found their continuity way too jumbled to really.
Well, there's so many characters.
And there's so many different teams. Astonishing, Uncanny, X-Force. And it's like.
Yeah. There's a great X-Force book that I love about them trying to kill Baby Apocalypse, and no one wants to do it, but they're just on their way to go kill him, and they're just arguing the whole time about
who's going to do this?
Yeah, I think we mentioned it on the last episode.
Probably.
We did. But I think it'd be a great story for a movie.
I think that's fun.
It'd be awesome. But yeah, man, so that's it. That's I wanted to talk about Venom. I mean, my main thing was I wanted to do the Spider-Man 4 pitch because I do think that's fun.
Yeah, and I think it's fun to cake it in the Spider-Man adjacent shit. So.
Exactly. I agree, man. But I'm excited. I got to be honest. I'm very excited for a lot of upcoming MCU stuff. I think Fantastic Four is going to be sick.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I have some red flags of mine going up that I don't want to say, but
I love the design of the futurism 60s. Like they released the map of New York.
Yeah.
You see that? I thought it was so awesome. That it was so detailed. I think Doomsday, I'm wicked looking forward to that. I'm super looking forward to this, and I'm glad that Tom Holland's back for like several movies. I just trust that team a lot. Even Far From Home, which is more of like an in-between movie, I really enjoy Far From Home.
It was fun.
I like Mysterio. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm excited for Secret Wars. I think Secret Wars is going to be like a game changer. I think it's going to be like bigger than Endgame. That's my prediction.
I think it's going to be a full reboot. Bigger than Endgame will be hard to do.
I know.
I mean, I hope it is.
But I think we're going to see Robert Downey Jr., Tobey Maguire, Hugh Jackman. I think
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. I think we're going to see Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider. I think we're going to see everybody come together in some way.
Yeah. One other Spider-Man adjacent news: Spider-Man Noir is filming now with Nick Cage as Noir.
Are they going to do that?
They're filming.
I saw
a behind the scenes photo. I was like, that looks fucking cool.
I hope it's good. I mean, are they going to play it as a comedy? You think?
No, I think it's going to be straight like action on Prime, which
I'm
I think
excited.
could be cool.
I'm surprised that they're letting them do this on Prime.
It's Sony.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
you're right. I guess it's Sony.
They're like, fuck it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
Yep.
I think there's fun stuff to be coming.
Yep. And Popcorn Kernels will be back. We're on the reviewing history feed this time because Fun Bearable is drowning their listeners in content this month.
Not only so we're doing the TESD Town Takeover, where Ryan Ashell, Ruppert has 2 episodes coming out. Brian Johnson and Jimmy the Hair Guy are going to be on all in a month. And we're doing all the Tell 'em Steve Dave, the TES Down in History episodes I did before. We're reposting all those on the Fun Bearable feed. So there are 9 releases in the course of a month on the Fun Bearable feed. So Popcorn Kernels is going up on the Reviewing History feed this time. But then we're going to do two in a row on the Fun Bearable feed.
And we're talking about some Christmas things coming out for that.
Hell yeah, I love that.
And speaking of Christmas things, go on bandcamp.com. Follow Reviewing History there. I'll have a link here.
Yeah.
The Christmas album, Christmas podcast bonus is dropping Black Friday at midnight. It's called the Christmas Freak Off. Jimmy's on it. Chuck is on it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah.
I got fun things up my sleeve.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good stuff, buddy.
All right, so we'll see you next time. Dismissed!